This is the Still Talking Podcast, episode 3. 3 episodes in, and we are still talking.
My God, are you still talking?
For sure, we are still talking. So we will join up into the Discord here in a moment. Hopefully everybody's having a great day out there. Alright. Let's get into it.
I did one for all of us.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages.
Oh, no, but on a more serious note, I think we should probably get started. Everyone, welcome to the Still Talking podcast. It is episode 3. We are again at full strength. Dennis, Doe, Jax, and myself. We've got a few different things to speak about, and I Doe put some stuff in the Discord that he thought could be a nice little topic of conversation. Very much going to have to let you three take the lead on that, with it being an Applebee's issue. We don't really get Applebee's over here. But also, Jax did end last week's podcast by saying he had some prompts.
What the hell is up, Applebee's?
It's a bee on an apple, dude.
Yeah, duh.
All right.
I don't know. I'm English. We don't know what they are. But Jax did have some prompts that we said we're getting to start this week. Even if Jax, it's fine because we remember what they are.
We just remember what one of them was, but if you want to go over the other ones that you had, we're more than interested to talk about.
Yeah, there was a Dungeons and Dragons one.
I don't have the paper I wrote down on, but I do have another topic for.
Sure.
Yeah, okay, topics are always fun.
But I'll do it. I'll save that for later in the podcast if I find an opportunity to bring it up. Anyways, screenplay. What are you saying? What do you want to start off with? My prompts that you remembered from the last time.
So I mean, I think we'll leave the more heavy one for some people to a little bit later on. I mean, the D&D stuff you said was something that I've never really touched myself, but something I'd definitely be down to do. But I have absolutely no idea what it is or how to even go about starting it. But it does sound.
Dungeons and Dragons. I'd love to play
sound like Dungeons and Dragons. Cool.
I wish I was more experienced in it. I'd say, not as a player because I've played quite a few times, but as a DM or a dungeon master.
For something
because you got.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No. Go ahead. I was just saying.
Well, I was gonna say for something like that to be a dungeon master. Is it pretty standard, or do you have to have a pretty good sense of imagination? Because like I've read across a couple of those, and maybe that's just kind of fictitious, like seeing it on TV and stuff like that. That the dungeon master has to be really creative to make the game go a little bit more, or is it pretty much whatever card or item is used, like it's pretty standard?
I imagine it definitely helps because the dungeon masters actually write the campaign.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
A lot of it comes from the dungeon master himself. Like he has to have his own imagination. It's his own world. A lot of the times, it's his own world where he makes up factions and languages and so forth. Okay. But there is a company called Wizards of the Coast, I believe. I could be off by like a word or so, but it's something like that. But there's different editions of D&D, which is basically like a base for it, right? It's the foundations of D&D, which is usually built off that. The latest one, the 5th edition, is what I have most familiarity with, and a lot of like stats off of like creatures, NPCs, certain spells that characters have. A lot of that comes from the base edition of 5th edition, right? So it gives the dungeon master a bit of relaxation. But if you do want to do one from scratch, it is a lot harder.
So it's basically like a blueprint.
It is
like you follow along, but you kind of add your own stuff into it. for that
Yeah.
version of it.
Yeah, it's a blueprint, a schematic, or
Right.
you know,
Template, a template kind of thing. Yeah.
Okay.
it's a foundation. Yeah.
How many people or who's all involved in this, and how long does this take?
Well, usually there's the dungeon matches, of course, and it could be up to like.
If we were to say do a still talking podcast game of Dungeons and
Of
Dragons,
D&D.
would I have to do anything apart from turn up? Would you need anything extra from me?
Well, you'd have to make your character pick
Oh,
up.
cool! I want to be a wizard.
There's a few things. It's more than just I want to be a wizard. No, there's
But I can be a
Or-
wizard.
yes, you can.
I'm in. I'm sold.
You just want the hat.
You just with the pointy hat.
Yeah.
The well,
Are
they're
you
for
are you a-
characters.
Are you a wizard like Gandalf the Grey,
I
or are
am
you a wizard
Gandalf.
like Albus Dumbledore?
I am King Dolph.
Gandalf.
I don't know. I think it just make that stuff up, don't you? But I don't know. Dumbledore is cool. Dumbledore is really cool. Dumbledore also dies. So
Hey, spoiler,
Spoiler alert.
Oh
Spoiler.
my
Harry
God,
Potter is the
dude.
same age as my little sister. Anyone who hasn't seen the is it the Half-Blooded Prince? Yeah, it is. Anyone
Yeah,
that
it
hasn't seen the Half-Blooded Prince
I
Or
haven't
read
seen
the
it.
books.
I haven't
or
heard
listened
it.
to the Audible,
I haven't. Heard it.
they deserve to have it ruined. It has been out since 2 seconds.
I
The
say
how
listen
long?
to the books.
Yes. The audio.
Yeah.
I said listen
Yeah,
to the
Audible.
books.
No,
I
you said
that.
read the book. You
You
said
did,
read
yeah.
the book.
All right.
Oh.
Okay.
I said listen to the Audible.
Yeah.
I listened
it came
to
out in
a lot of
2009. That film is
audiobooks.
13. He's 13 years old. If you haven't seen it, I'm not spoiling it. I'm just
Spoiler.
talking about the past.
Somebody died.
Total spoiler.
Well, since we're on spoilers, Gandalf also dies, but unlike
Man,
Un-
whoa,
unlike
whoa,
Dumbledore.
Jack. Good lord.
Gandalf
Whoa.
doesn't die. Gandalf just takes an extended holiday and
Well,
then comes back in a
no,
different
but he
That,
comes
game.
back.
that
Yeah, he
ruins
comes
my
back.
Sunday. That's what I was gonna do was watch those
He
movies.
does come back
Good
though.
grief,
Unlike
Charlie Brown.
Dumbledore.
Do you even know what film Gandalf's from?
Yes.
That's not a good enough answer. We need to know.
You didn't ask that. You just asked, do I know? And I said yes.
Yeah, but what film is it?
Oh, you can't ask two questions. Sorry. Continue. I have no.
You've
clue.
reached
Yeah.
you've reached your maximum amount of questions for the
Anyways,
day.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
like
yes.
the DM, the characters, the players have quite a bit of work themselves. Like they pick their race, their class, all their spells, their gear, like their starting gear. They come up with backstories for their characters and their own goals and whatnot. You know,
Interesting. Is that how?
it takes a
I-
lot of.
I was gonna say
Imagination
You
in
can be
RPG.
pretty in depth about it, but how long
yeah,
does that take? I mean, I'm not trying to like hurry anything on here, but like, does that take an hour to come up with your stuff, or does that
I
take
suppose
5
you
minutes?
can come up with your own stuff in your own time. Like if we were to say next week, obviously we're not going to do it next week because next week I think we are looking at doing like a little bit of a
Right,
WrestleMania
something else,
prelude kind of thing.
I don't know
Um,
anything about that.
I mean,
so I'm just
Jack,
gonna leave that to you
if you
guys.
want to take a night off, that's on you. We'd obviously love to have you with us, but if you want to take a night off for that more sort of wrestling-based talk,
No, I think it could be a good nap time
yeah.
actually.
We're gonna learn you.
then that's cool. We're going to do some predictions, look at what we think's going to happen, talk about what we think's going to happen with Cody Rhodes. Is Cody Rhodes going to be there?
Thank
Stuff
you.
like that. But we'll leave all that for next week. But if, say, the week afterwards we said we're going to start a Dungeons and Dragons game on that podcast, I assume you could, in the week building up to that, if you've got 10 minutes a day, get a piece of paper, open a Word
I
document, and work on it yourself in
Uh-huh.
your own time.
Right. I think we could. It's hard to call say a D&D game takes a certain amount of hours because it definitely can. It depends on what the group agrees on and whatnot.
Yeah, but
like,
I mean, you could
it
also
could take
break
an
it
hour
up
or
and
two.
stuff. You could,
Of course,
if
of course.
If we said we don't want to go over 2 hours on one day,
Yeah,
if we
of
get
course.
2
You could
hours,
split
we
it up
could
like that.
chapter it kind
What's
of
up,
thing.
Goku?
I think the best way to split it up is in sessions.
Yeah.
And that could be how long the group decides. For us, it could be like a maximum of 2 hours. The DM would be able, I'd assume it'd be me. I would be able to
Well, if you
make
don't
a
do it, then it's going to fall apart. I'm going to be completely
yes, I agree.
I
But
mean, what I would say is, we
I'd have
mentioned
to set it to
oh.
where the story or the characters find it like a nice, where things have settled down. Like maybe,
Yeah.
you guys, the characters, the players, will have, we're just setting off on a quest, Spirit's Eye, or right after a fight where things are nice and calm, nice spot to leave it at, you know?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you, as a dungeon master, do you not have a character in this?
No, the dungeon master.
Right, he is God. He is God.
Oh, okay, okay. So based on that, you said you've never been a dungeon master.
No,
You
I've
have?
never been a dungeon
Okay.
master.
So
I
how-
am trying to write myself up as one, but
right. But how is basically like for the players, they're consumed in what they're doing. Is just the dungeon master consumed in creating the story? Is that
So,
how?
I
Is that
mean-
like their point? Is that how they're like how they
so,
get enjoyment out of the game?
Yeah, so Jax, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, because you do know a bit more about it. But like, from my understanding, it
Go
is
ahead.
the dungeon master. They sort of like. I think like there's times where I've seen people play it with like dice and stuff, and they're like, "Oh, you need to roll this to be able to do what they sort of
You need
are
dice,
in charge."
definitely.
But they also like they narrate the story.
Yeah, the dungeon
They're-
master isn't like. Of course, he's a god. He can make anything.
Yeah, they're not
But
a player. They're like the.
They are not a pair.
storyteller.
They are definitely the storyteller, the narrator. They're every NPC. They're every enemy. They're everything that isn't the player. They
Pretty much,
roll.
they do
They
all
roll
work
to
big-
see if an enemy hits you. They decide how an NPC reacts to what you just said to them. There's a narrator. They're a storyteller. They're what controls. They control the world. They are the world, while you, the player, are dropped inside that world.
Okay.
And yes, you do need dice to,
cool.
because everything's based off stats. So very mathematical. You need to roll for every hit, initiative, your armor stats, and stuff like that.
Okay.
And you have certain points into like knowledge and wisdom, and like if you know histories and stuff like that. So if you know history, you can take a wisdom roll and be like, if it's a higher die or like a certain percentage high, you can be like, oh, I know everything about this. But if it's really low, you're like, I got this completely wrong.
Okay.
So it changes the outcome. It gives it a more of a chance, you know.
What is the ultimate goal?
It's
literally, is it just a free roaming type of
it-
experience, or
it's an open world. Enjoy the story, have fun.
Yeah, I assume the
RP.
ending would be the written ending by Jax, and just we get there however we get there within the realms of that story.
It's not even. Sometimes it's not even up to the DM. Sometimes the players will take. Sometimes the DM will set up choices, right, that are optional for the players to take, and players will go, "Fuck the main quest. Let's go
I wanna
follow
go
this
Starbucks."
butterfly. Let's follow this butterfly in the Starbucks into the woods." And just take it a whole nother thing, and that leaves it for the DM to start expanding on this world. You know?
You're aware that if we play this, when you give me a choice, I'm going to say I want to go to Starbucks.
All right, I'll make a Starbucks for you.
I've never been to Starbucks.
There's a Starbucks in the casino I work at. And
There's a Starbucks about 10 minutes away from me, and I've never been.
so the I don't want to say the point of it, because like I understand the point.
Of course, it's to have fun.
It's just be like create like imagination. It's creativity. It's everything. But the players once they make their character, like the creativity is no longer there. Is that why I'm hearing? Like, because it seems like the creativity is from the dungeon master.
Oh no, of course not. The players can take the world right into their own hands. Like how I said, the dungeon master can make a set story for the adventurers, the players. The players can say, "Fuck that, we're gonna go do something else," and the dungeon master will build off that something else because that creativity is coming from the players. The players have made a new path, and then the dungeon master himself has to create that path along the way with the players. It's of course it's set in that world. It's just a different quest.
Okay.
But a lot of the roleplay and the creativity also comes from the players because of what they say to NPCs, of course, how things play out, what the players want to do. Because, for example, I could set up a room full of goblins, right? Basic enemy in roleplay. And the adventurers walk in. Instead of, starting a fight, which is what the DM would expect, you guys just start talking to goblins, start talking out, start being friends, which is a complete side turn for what I expected. But that leaves me to voice the goblins and see how they react to just conversations of going for an entire fight,
Okay.
A lot of the choices are left up to the player. It's just for the DM to react to those choices.
So it's the choices of the players, the reactions to those choices, but it's also the choices of the dungeon master, the reactions of the player. So it plays off of each person.
They're playing off each other, yeah, of course. There's plenty of imagination in RP going around and creation.
Is that something? And I'm not talking about our group because we have a four-person group.
Of course, that can work. There's no set amount of players for.
Well, that's what I was going to ask. Is like other groups, like if you have 10 players,
right,
and you're going, and then somebody has to leave. Like, how does that? Like they leave for the day, or they might be just done playing. Like you just kill their character off, or is it just kind of like, we'll address that later.
10 is a lot of players
for
a dungeon master to keep. Yeah, 10 is a lot of players for a dungeon master to keep track of. See, I'd say 6 max. Honestly, 6 max.
What's the minimum? Players. What's the minimum number?
Minimum? Oh, I'd go with just 2.
Just 2 plus the dungeon master.
2 plus dungeon master. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I know you said then, obviously not just our group because it's a bit small. When I said if we maybe did this as like as a podcast, I don't think we do it as a podcast episode. I don't think I'd do it on like a Saturday. I think I'd probably be willing to do it like during the week as just our streams, kind of thing, and then that way it would probably be easy to get people from within chats into it as well, and maybe get like just a couple more from there.
Right.
Go from there, but not necessarily dedicate a couple of episodes of the podcast.
No,
to it.
No. I wouldn't.
No. I wouldn't do that.
I mean, we could review it, or we could address it, or talk about how we're going to do it. But like, no, I definitely wouldn't want to like take over a podcast. I was just trying to figure out like the number of people. Like, I said 10, and you said that's way too many. I was thinking like sometimes there's 20 or 50 people in these, I guess, but maybe not.
Oh, no,
I suppose there's no guarantee that Dennis would want to play. I know Dennis is muted, but there's no guarantee that Dennis would be actually interested in playing, so...
He'll play.
I'd take offense to that.
He'll play.
Yeah.
He will play.
I want to say I'm definitely the nerdiest out of all. Greenfly might got me beat, but...
I am a nerd. I am such a nerd.
I'm definitely.
Well, anyway, you said that's such an insult. I think I'm the nerdiest. No.
Speaking of that, someone in my chat just said, "Haha, D&D is for nerds."
Greenfly is the king nerd.
I don't know about that.
I'm a nerd though.
Yeah.
What classifies as a nerd?
Not a geek.
Okay.
Oh, that hit that cleared it up, man. That's clear as mud.
You're
We just
Well, I
shut
mean,
it down
like,
right
what
there.
classifies as a nerd? Like, you know, the type of movies you like, the type of games you play, the type, like, if you're smart in school, like, what?
I think it's changed over the years.
Yeah,
I think
I think the best way
it's
to do
less
this is,
of this is what you are and you're not anything else, to more of I have my nerdy moments. Yeah,
Right. You nerd
You
out
know,
for
like-
certain things.
it's definitely where it's like more
the
a less
Oxford
active thing.
Dictionary definition of a nerd is
Oh,
a foolish
fuck.
or contemptible person who lacks social skills.
what?
A foolish or contemptible person who lacks social skills or is boringly studious.
All right,
Okay.
all right. What's one for a geek? Yeah,
I was going to get ready to ask that. What's our geek definition?
yeah.
And not that I think any of these words are offensive at all.
Oh, no,
some,
I mean,
no,
it's-
no.
Some people would be offended if they were called either word.
Yeah.
I mean, I would care less. You know, whether I was called
Okay,
that or whether I
so
called somebody that.
I didn't know this. There are two noun definitions for the word geek. One
Uh-huh.
is an unfashionable or socially inept person. The
Okay.
other one is a performer at a carnival or circus whose shows consist of bizarre or grotesque acts. And that's apparently more of a US one. I can say this, I've
I
never
can- I
heard
think
anyone at a carnival or anything
can-
like
I
that,
can
or
see
heard
that.
of it being called a geek.
Uh-huh.
Like I thought, I mean, again, without trying to cause offense, I thought that they were considered like freaks, and that's where the term freak show and stuff came from.
Right.
I definitely think that is a
Old definition.
I was gonna say boomer a boomer
Boomer.
usage of that.
Boomer.
Boomer.
Like I'd say certain words are boomer words.
All
The
right.
words that are just not said anymore that just don't apply to nowadays vocabulary.
So what? I mean, I guess if we go back to what you consider a nerd, like I know the definition. I know what the definition is, but
We know what the technical definition is.
but you just that you have a affliction for things that don't seem popular. Is that
Yeah.
Would that be?
I don't think you can say that it doesn't seem popular because people, oh, well, for instance, Harry Potter is a very popular thing, and you can very easily
yeah.
call someone who's really into Harry Potter a nerd.
Yeah,
Easily.
like people that are really, to not just people that are like, oh yeah, it's good, I enjoy it, but like, for example, I know so much about Harry Potter.
And
Right.
I'm gonna call you a nerd for that.
They're actually
But,
called Potterheads.
Yeah, thank you, Dennis.
I'm not gonna call that. I'm not gonna call anyone that because I
Thank
don't
you,
care
Dennis.
enough. But I can also be called a nerd for being really
Hector,
into Star Wars.
Hector, you take that slander back.
Wow.
Geeks originally were in the freak show and would do things like bite the head off of chickens. Check out the new movie called Nightmare Alley to learn all about. All right,
All right, we're
I
watching the
really
movie.
wanna.
I think
really
I
don't
think I
wanna-
just read an ad.
All right.
Yeah, you did.
Hashtag ad.
This
That's our
stream is
second
sponsored
ad.
by
That's our
Nightmare
second
Alley.
sponsor. Nightmare Alley. Yeah, because
I'm not gonna lie. I'm leaving if we're sponsored by that. That sounds fucking horrible.
I need.
right.
I
And the reason-
require a $5 donation just for reading that.
The reason I ask that is, like, I've always been smart. I've always been good at school. I've always done that, and I've always felt.
All right, show off.
Hold on. I've always felt on the nerd side of things, but like things that are quote unquote nerdy, I guess, like Dungeons and Dragons, stuff like that. That is the perception of that. I
think
don't get
up
into
different
until-
levels of nerdy.
I think up until quite recently, when it all sort of fell back into the limelight with the Logan Paul stuff and that, I think people that were like slightly older maybe like my age, and I still do. I still do.
know
I've still
what
got
you're
a
talking
binder full. But people that were like kind of collecting like Pokemon or Yu-Gi-Oh cards and stuff like that were considered kind of nerdy.
Right.
When then obviously that's been thrown back into the limelight now, and it's considered the most
Well,
popular thing in the world.
And it's
Oh
something,
yeah, of course.
It's something we talked about a little bit earlier, but I guess it's things that are looked down upon. And I'm not saying
Yeah.
Pokemon. I'm not saying Harry Potter. I'm not saying
I
anything.
don't
but,
think I honestly feel Pokemon cards. If you were over the age of like 15 and you were collecting Pokemon cards, people thought you were a bit weird. Up
Right.
until quite recently.
Right, but you add that in. There's several things, and we just addressed one a little bit ago. There's several things that you either do or you like, and people just look at you differently.
Yeah.
So we have Pokemon, we have Dungeons and Dragons, and we have wrestling also. And that there's a stigma, I guess, maybe more of a stigma than you're a nerd. It's just a stigma of, well, this person is, and if you do, wrestling, this person's uneducated, they don't know, they're from the South, they think it's real, like, and there's just a stigma around different things, like I said, especially around Pokemon, around Harry Potter, wrestling, and a stigma around being good in school. Like, I don't know if it's necessarily a nerd moment, to be a fan of that type of stuff, but there's definitely a stigma when you like that type of stuff. Do you feel that way?
I do. I feel like because I was also it wasn't until I got to like high school that I was like, man, let me try to fit in, right? I got that mindset of I'm going to try to fit in and fit in, stigma or whatever. But no, absolutely. Dude, us nerds growing up, we were the sacrificial lambs for nerds today to be cool. You know what I'm saying? Like we had to get made fun of, we got beat up, all that. I mean, I'll speak for myself.
Yeah, I'm going to be completely honest. Like you say, like nerds you'd see.
It's definitely
or bullied and stuff like that. It's very
time
much
thing,
not
right?
like that in England.
Yeah, it definitely isn't that anymore. There's definitely,
Like-
I want to call it like back then where the nerds were Dennis time. Let's say it that.
I mean, back in
nerds
prehistoric times.
Back during the Mammoth Throne, the pyramids were first built.
All
There
right,
was a
Gen Z,
time where
go eat a Tide Pod.
there was a time where
Okay,
nerds
boomer.
were bullied and like made fun of, and they're the outcasts and stuff.
You don't think
There
they're
was-
you don't think
I wanna
they're
call
made
it-
fun of now?
Oh yeah, there's some degree of that, but it's gotten to the point where like our social standards, where we agree everyone likes different things, right? A lot of things are popular, just like Star Wars, Harry Potter, and Lord of the Rings, generally nerdy stuff in that time beforehand that are just normal things people like now, and of course they're still nerdy to that standard, but they're just all right. Yeah.
But
A little bit more social.
I mean,
acceptable.
I'll address
Yeah.
kind of what Brittany said there. Every generation is going to say that, like, oh, we paved the way for the next generation. I
Of
don't
course.
necessarily know that the quote unquote nerds today. I think it's not that we paved the way, but we're older. So like the nerds that we grew up with, quote unquote, are running the world now. But they're still like that next generation doesn't know that yet. They don't know
You're
that they're
like
gonna...
Poindexters. You're not nerds.
No, I do think it's nerd-ish, but that
Yeah,
next
of
generation, what I'm saying, that next generation, the 10-year-old to 20-year-olds that don't think they fit in, that think they're nerds, they don't realize that they're going to be running the show in about 15 to 20 years.
Isn't that what that one meme is? You guys ever see that where it's why is it girls always go for like dickheads, and it's a guy carrying a bunch of books and it's got glasses and pocket folder and everything, and then the next image is him in like a big fancy suit with a bunch of money, and she's like, oh, why won't you like me or whatever.
Yeah.
You ever see that?
I have not
That
seen that.
that old meme. Hold on, I'll find it. I'll find it.
Do we think Elon Musk got some swirlies? Probably, and that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't think it's awkward, you know. And I'm the farthest
Elon was
removed.
for sure a nerd before.
The farthest
Elon
removed.
Musk is a nerd now.
No,
Yeah.
you're 16, and I refuse to believe anything else.
No, I'm just saying I'm the farthest removed of all of us from nerddom back in school. But I think that there's
You can be cool and be a nerd.
You can
Look at
be.
me.
That's also not true.
How dare you? I felt personally attacked.
Yeah. No, Elon does make cool stuff now. But
I found one with no text. I can't find the original meme.
yeah.
This one doesn't have any words.
But yeah, like, we're going off on the tangent there about, you know, I know we're talking about Dungeons and Dragons, but I was just kind of looking at the stigma of it. Like,
I love that word. It's so funny.
and the fact that being different is, and this isn't a PSA, this isn't a, you know, oh, I'm trying to, you know, it's okay to be different and stuff like that, but like, it is okay to be different. It's okay to like stuff that might not be socially acceptable or that's seen a different way. Like,
I would like to add that how there's all right, well, I'm gonna do another back in the day bet. Or back in the day, generally in schools there was groups. There's like a social hierarchy where there's jocks and nerds, and it was very obvious which one you belonged to. Nowadays, it's people are starting to realize you don't just belong in this one group, right? You can like more than just one thing. You're more than just a nerd. You're more than just a jock. You're more than just a goth. You're more than just a prep, you know?
But you're
more
saying
than that.
You're saying that at the age
These-
that you are.
Yeah, of course. But these are starting to blend together, you know?
In your opinion.
I have to say that because I'm no longer in high school.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, Hector, if there's anybody else in chat, but I want to pick on Hector for a second, if you don't mind asking or answering, are there still
that
different,
social hierarchy?
Are there still different social classes in school?
Classes, that's what I want.
You know, are there still different types of things in school, or is everything kind of blended together? Because I still feel that there's different, like, you're either a jock, you're a prep, you're a nerd, you're this.
Hector's just said, we very much don't live in the High School Musical world where basketball players can be singers and dancers.
Right.
That's true.
It's not blended. That's what I'm saying. Like, the older you get, it becomes blended. It becomes more socially acceptable. But I still think...
I think it's because, I mean, and again, I'm not American, so the American school system is something I don't really have to speak about. But in England, I was a smartish kid. I studied certain subjects. The subjects I liked the most, I tended to study for. But I also played football. I also played football. I played for the school team. I played cricket for school. I played rugby for school. I was very much in both, and I'm going to say it like you're not accepted in England as much, but I was kind of accepted into like, oh, these are people who are going to be playing football every dinner time. I could go play football. But there were going to be people that were talking about what video games they were playing last night. I could go speak to them quite easily. Like in England, I think it was very much a more blended school situation.
You could say that, but I'm also going to say the first thing you said. You played football, which I understand is your football. But you played football, you played rugby, you played cricket. That puts you in a higher level so that when you went to talk to the gamers or you went and talked to the nerds,
that's what I mean. There were people that could quite easily just come up and speak to people. It wasn't like I'd say that the only time there was ever really a social class or like a clash of social classes at school was when you were talking to somebody of the opposite sex in what would have been a teenage attempt at
Where
flirting.
it's like they're way out of your league.
Yeah, that
Kind
is
of
when
deal, yeah.
that would be the only time you'd be like, yeah, you've messed up there, man.
No,
Like,
yeah, I definitely agree.
turn around, walk away, and come back with a smile on your face. But that were it. Like, if I could, as I said, I play football, so I had friends from the football team. I had friends that I'd known before I started secondary school that didn't really play football, but I could speak to any of them. There could be someone from a completely different school come to our school, and they'd be like, oh, I don't play football, I don't like football. Or they'd be like, I like drama, and there'd be a drama. They could quite easily walk up to anyone in that football team, have a conversation, and it'd be like, just to quote an English word, sound. Like, there'd be no issue. You could sit down with anyone and spend your lunch just talking to people, and
Right.
there wasn't really that issue.
So I'd like to address a couple things here. One, I agree with Brittany. With bigger schools, there's more separate. And I will say this might be a more of an American thing. Bullying is a huge issue in the American
of course.
schools. But I will go with crazy here. This is kind of the point I was making. A jock, once again, that's an offensive term too. But a jock can talk to whoever they want. But if you're not,
Scrub group.
you like he says, if he tried to go talk to a certain group back in the day, he would get punched right in the throat. Like, if you're in the higher, as we say in class, like the higher hierarchy, I guess, of classes, then you can do what you want to talk to anybody.
Yeah.
But you couldn't be one of the bottom groups, quote unquote, and go and talk to anybody because you were looked down on.
Yeah, I think that's what I'll get in it. Like, I can't imagine that actually being a thing and that being something that actually happens, because it just doesn't happen in England.
Right.
I mean, people,
Okay.
unfortunately, like, people do get bullied at school.
Yeah.
And stuff like that in England. That's not an exclusively American thing. We do have huge issues with, like, bullying and stuff like that in England, and it is a terrible, terrible thing, and it does need addressing everywhere, not just in England, not just in America, it needs addressing everywhere. But it's so uncommon for it to come just because somebody's, like, in a different social class kind of thing. Like, you have to be again, at school I was an idiot. I think every teenager is an idiot. Every young teenager is an idiot.
Right.
You have to have been what someone would literally sit there and say, oh yeah, no, they're weird. They are weird to be bullied. Like, in England, you didn't get bullied because you didn't like football or because you tried to speak to someone that was considered more popular. That stuff didn't happen, thankfully, because it meant that I could be friends with both sets of friends groups and it not be considered, oh, why are you talking to them, kind of thing.
Right. But
I definitely think it's also like it's got to be time change. Like, I don't care what Hector says. Stuff is definitely more blended now, because I was in high school not that long ago. Granted, I'm 22, but still, that's not that long ago. But I didn't do any sports in high school. I didn't like go out on my way to make friends with anyone. I basically stayed in the back class with my hood up and slept. But I was still friends with the entire American football team, everyone in the fucking band, like
how many people
video
went to your
game
school?
crews. It was an inner city school, so there is a massive school, very popular in Ohio, Princeton High School. But there was people I got along with everyone, the foreign kids, absolutely everyone. But it's not like I made an effort to be friends with them. It just sort of happened, and I felt like it was very blended. I think it is definitely a different time. I am calling you out, though, man, and heck for being boomers. That's not the way. You're not gonna get punched in the throat for talking to a jock as a nerd. It's just I don't feel that's the way.
Yeah, well, I mean, I can't speak for Crazy. He's told me these stories before, so I know. I know what he had went through. I can't speak for that because I didn't go through that. Like, I was on. You want to go on my soapbox here? Oh, you're smart. I was on the quiz bowl teams, the spell bowl teams, but I also did sports. So, and I also hung out with some of the cool kids, quote unquote of the
Wait,
school.
in America,
So-
that has just thrown me off. I thought that was very much something that was in TV series and films.
Yeah.
You guys have like scholastic decathlons and quiz balls and stuff are real.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely. I think
Yes.
it's because I avoided clubs and groups.
It sounds like you avoided more. And it sounded like maybe Crazy tried avoiding it also, but that didn't work out so
no,
well.
you guys
So-
were
so I
definitely
can't-
I
in
can't speak
groups
for him.
and stuff.
Hector,
Yeah.
that's not a reason to be friends with somebody.
I mean, it's not a
Behave.
wrong reason, but
No, dumb man, it is a wrong
No,
reason.
No, it's just friends with benefits.
no, I mean,
It's-
The benefit is
I'm going
they
to be
do
honest,
your
I have a
homework for
feeling
you.
Hector is too young to understand that term. So let's leave it at that.
No,
But
no,
you
I'm-
can't be friends with someone because you want answers off them.
so
I
I'm
think
not.
it also depends on size of the school, but go ahead.
Yeah, I'm not gonna discredit what Hector's saying, but I'm also hoping that he realizes that if you are using the quote unquote smart people, that's not good either. Because one, you shouldn't use anybody.
Hector, you're grounded.
And you're grounded.
Be a villain, Hector.
Also, just because I
Yeah,
have
the
just seen
protagonist
Doman's
is
chat
used to
when Hector saw that, I have also just seen. Apparently, England's classy because we say instead of having dinner in an evening, we have tea. Like,
So
why does that make? Why is that classy?
so
Just tea, isn't it? Tea time.
Because it's not tea. Like a tea is what you drink, not tea is not a dinner.
No, tea is a drink. It is also a time of the day.
That's not
yeah,
what
it's
I
tea
said.
time.
Tea time.
But yeah,
What do you mean? What? It's just tea time. You have snack time, don't you? It's just the same thing,
Yeah.
but with a cup of tea.
Dinner
Like,
time.
calm down.
Dinner
It's
time,
not
around
that
12
like
o'clock.
upper class.
No,
Calm
no,
down.
Jax. Tea time doesn't mean it's time to drink a cup of tea. Tea time is our evening meal.
Yeah.
Yeah. We if someone wants to say, if someone goes, oh, tea time, no, we don't go, tea time, let's have a cup of tea. You just go, do you want a brew? We're very not classy.
You just said the same thing. What are you talking about?
No, right. So apparently, according to Doman's chat, England is classy because
I doubt it.
what in America is considered dinner, which is like your evening meal, your main meal of the day, we don't call that dinner. To us, dinner is lunch.
Supper.
We call our
Yeah.
evening meal tea.
All right.
It's not, if we say it's tea time, it doesn't just mean there's a cup of tea waiting for you
Are you
downstairs.
saying you have breakfast, lunch, and tea time where we have
No, we have breakfast,
lunch,
dinner,
and
and
dinner?
tea. You have breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Say that again.
So in America, you have
No,
breakfast.
I want you to say exactly what you said, but say it again.
Yeah, okay. We have breakfast, dinner, and tea. You have breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
What about second breakfast?
or fourth,
That's called brunch, dude.
how about fourth
And
meal?
we have
No.
done
Brunch is different from second breakfast.
bottomless brunch is second breakfast, and it comes with a whole hell of a lot of cocktails. Is how I'm gonna word that.
Yeah.
Bottomless brunch is
Uh,
incredible.
All right, I'm gonna pivot off of that, going back a little bit to the bullying and stuff like that, if you don't mind.
Go for it.
You nerd.
Crazy makes a good point here. I mean, and I don't mean to bring up bad memories, but I think we've all had those type of memories. I didn't get ridiculed at school. I was good. I was fine. But everybody has bad memories of that. But his thing right there about not having name brand clothes, does that add into whether you're considered an outcast? Maybe nerd's not the word. Maybe outcast is now the word.
I think it depends on the school, definitely, because I think the more popular kids are gonna have the more name brand shit, like the,
Right.
and then because it's a mix of classes, like wealth class, right?
Well, here, and this is just kind of changing the times. And Domain, you'll know this brand from us growing up. Champion.
Mm-hmm.
If you wore Champion anything at school, you got beat up and
Yeah.
made fun of because that was the Kmart, which was lower than Walmart at the time. That's basically the Kmart clothes.
Right.
So I definitely think it's changed the time, especially when it comes to fashion, because if you wore Champion, or if you wore Payless shoes, or if you wore, anything that wasn't on that day. Yeah, oh, absolutely. It doesn't. Yeah, you're getting your ass kicked, man.
Yeah, absolutely, Hector. Champion is popular now. It wasn't back then, and coming from a single parent home, we didn't have anything. Like, I was on free lunches, reduced lunches, free lunches, stuff like that. So, like, the thought of having name brand anything, that wasn't happening. Like, for anything. Like, to have a Nike shirt, or if it said, Chicago Bulls or, North Carolina or anything like that, that didn't happen. It was pure black. It was pure black colors. So definitely, as Jenna said, just definitely a change in the times. But by that, you move that back, that's mine and Dennis's time. Now you go to Greenfly, in your time, about name brand stuff. We'll go to Jack's about name brand stuff. Like, I don't know anything about name brand.
I can imagine
who you are and what class.
I can imagine in America, it was more. It's like people my age. It was, I'd say, kind of more rife. In England, there's a brand in England called Fila. I assume it's in America as well. There's a brand that is in England called Fila.
I don't know any.
Especially when I was growing up, they were like cheaper. They weren't the most popular, but they were a named brand. But they're not like popular. They weren't Adidas or Nike or anything like that. Nike. But you'd get, I'd say mocked. You wouldn't get like senselessly bullied. Someone would be like, "Nice trainers, Matt," and you get like throwaway comments that are aimed sometimes as like jibes of, "Yeah, they're shit shoes. You might want to change them." Or some people just like, if you're there with your friends and they were like, "Nice shoes," it'd be like a sort of banterous comment. But you'd never get like physically attacked or relentlessly attacked because of like the shoes you wore or anything like that. No.
When you say relentlessly or physically attacked, did you get made fun of? Like,
yeah, again, but it was only ever like one comment by someone. It was like, so for example, when I was in school, I was lucky. I grew up in a very lucky household. Me and my two sisters, I had I had the newest football boots because I played football a lot. I played football for a team. I had the newest football boots every couple of years. I didn't have like the most popular trainers, but I'd have like one of the more cheaper versions of an Adidas trainer kind of thing. So it wasn't really an issue for me. But if someone came into our PE changing room with a pair of feelers on which weren't popular shoes, you wouldn't get, someone would probably just make the comment of "nice trainers," and that'd be about it.
Okay, yeah. See, that didn't happen here. That would turn into, "Hey, nice shoes. Can't your family afford blah blah blah?"
Oh yeah, no, none of that.
Like
you didn't get like.
And am I not wrong with that, Jax or Dennis? Like that's how.
Gotta be.
That's how
it's got to be where you went to school, right? Like definitely in like I'm gonna say, like it's got to be like if you live in a rural place, right? There's certain parts of town.
He said Fila.
There's certain parts of town that are gonna be richer than the part that you live in, obviously. Right. And those. All right, I just want to say, kids are assholes. I'm gonna pick on each other for anything. Because I felt like that needed said. That being said, right? Yeah, there's definitely a wealth class difference between kids going to the same school, right? And there's private schools for the richer kids as well. I also went to my middle school. We all wore a uniform where it was all the same. All the boys wore a same thing. All the girls wore the same thing. So not much of that happened in middle school. And by the time I was in high school, I not that I can remember that never happened. At least to me,
yeah, I would say.
I don't know. I think it's definitely there's got to be some sort of like time difference.
Yeah, I would say the low income clothing probably got made more fun of in elementary school and middle school. By the time you got to high school, you had other things to deal with. Like you had
People stopped caring.
well, yeah,
Unless it was,
you had what are you gonna do on Friday night? You had who am I gonna date? You had other things to deal with other than little Joey over here has got knock off Adidas. It just says Addy on it. I don't really care. Like I'm trying to figure out how I'm getting to the football game on Friday night, or I'm trying to slip this note over to little Susie over here. Like I think it was more elementary school and middle school where people cared more about.
Oh man, did you have a crush on a girl called Susie at school?
Susie was a baddie at my school. I'm just gonna put that out there. But also but for me, so when I was in middle school going into high school, that's when Nelly came out with this big song, Air Force Ones. I don't know if you guys remember that, about the Nike shoes, the Air Force
I don't know who that is.
Yeah.
He's an American.
I don't know what. I don't know what.
He's an American
Nike
rapper.
is either.
He's an American rapper. Nike is a brand of clothing and shoes.
Make it sound again. I dare you.
Anyhow, Nike Air Force Ones are like the most popular Nike shoes of all time, right? Well, I had got a pair, and it was one of the coolest things in the world. I got beat up and got my shoes stolen over it. So, I mean, for me going into high school, clothing was still everything.
Right.
But it's also kind of the very ghetto school I went to. So, I mean, that probably had a lot to do with it as well.
I just want to... My point is that no one's getting shoved in lockers for wearing off-brand shoes anymore. That's all I'm trying to get across.
Jax, I know we addressed this the first week. How old are you again?
Huh?
How old
I'm
are you
22.
again? 22. So you're 4 or 5 years out of being in school.
Yeah.
Okay. Hector, it's a question for you, and I hate going back to you, but you're the only one that I know that's actually in school.
Because he's a wee lad.
Does that happen?
Are people getting shoved in lockers?
Are people getting shoved in lockers and stuff like that?
See, I've like fit myself in a locker before while my friends were watching, but it's not like people getting like the classic '80s fucking movie where people are just getting shoved in a locker and left in there all night.
Yeah, I mean I'm okay with that, Dennis. Not really.
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing is, and it's alright us lot saying it because we've all now left school, the things that matter at school, and it's because like people at school just don't have any real life issues. They don't have bills. They don't have mortgages or fiancés, or Dennis obviously has a family kind of thing. The shit that matters at school is the most irrelevant shit in the world the second you leave school. Once you get a job,
Agreed.
Once you got a university, for example. A friend of mine went to university and graduated not long ago. You got a university, you go get a job, you find a family, you find a partner, you have kids, you do everything that adults do. You potentially get married and stuff like that. All the shit that you gave people at school for potentially, like as you let's say in America, having knockoff shoes, knockoff train, knockoff like jogging bottoms or tank tops and stuff like that, it means nothing at all.
Well, if you're that into creepypasta, you deserve to get bullied. No, I'm joking. I'm joking.
Other kids do too. I'm sorry. What was the cat part?
Only kids that get bullied.
Only the emo kids get bullied. That's what.
Why do emo kids get bullied? Emos are ace.
Huh?
Emos are incredible. Why do emos get bullied? Emos gave us the greatest kind of music in the world when I was growing up.
See,
it's sparked by Linkin Park days.
But here's the thing also, and I don't know, if you're the same, but probably not, because my generation, when I was in high school, was at the peak of pop punk, right? Or just punk in general, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking when Green Day was doing real good. Fall Out Boy went from underground to mainstream. Mayday
Charlotte,
Parade,
Jimmy,
Paramore,
Jimmy World.
that's when that my high school was when that was peaking, right? So we could like it, but even the popular people, like the popular kids or the jocks, or or if there's another term I should use before besides jocks, it's not derogatory. The athletes will say that. They liked it, but they couldn't show that they liked it because it would label them in a group of people that would, in a class side of things, lower their quote unquote status of hierarchy. That was totally bullshit and not even a real thing back then.
You lost me, but there's definitely, I definitely remember. There's something with music taste that gives reason to get picked on, right?
Yeah.
So like how I said, I was really into Linkin Park. So like I feel like that would have been picked on if I was maybe in like elementary, or like I want to say like 6th to 8th grade. That I would get picked on for liking Linkin Park.
You lot there talk about elementary school and 6th. I have no idea how old you are at that point.
Shit, I don't even know. I want to say.
See, I also think at that point
14 to 16.
I think at that point, also in the end, it doesn't even matter. See what I say? I know. I don't know. I've just become so numb to it. But...
Dad, stop.
But I do remember a distinct reaction from a pair of popular girls when I was listening. I was actually sitting in a music tech class, and I had a pair of popular girls sitting behind me. And I was watching Black Hole Sun by... why am I blanking on the band's name? But it's an older song in the 90s. Soundgarden. I was watching the music video for that, and I was hearing. I wasn't getting picked on. It was just, the odd comment is like, "What the fuck is he watching? What the hell is that?"
Right. So.
But there's definitely a music taste difference between, kids, right? And that's a huge source of.
Okay. No, I agree with that.
Like different, like separating groups, right?
Right. No, I agree with that. And like I said, I am the elder statesman here. Dennis is close-ish, and then you and Greenfly are close. But then, like I said, I keep referencing Hector, and like I feel that his insight would help us here, and I never say that about Hector, honestly. But he is in that group. Like Hector does do sports, but there's some other stuff that he can do, he can't do, and stuff like that. But I've
heard the numbers with Hector. His insight is not helpful 90% of the time.
I watched him play Among Us yesterday, and like he got voted out in a public room. Because
what did he do?
He blamed somebody for killing and venting when nobody was dead. So I think like 7 people voted him out. Like
that is the most Hector thing I've ever seen. Like he would literally sit there and go,
Hector is
I saw Greenfly kill in a lobby where everybody is alive.
Right. I mean, Hector is a level 7 troll, so
that is true. But so at the risk of bringing a level 7 troll in here, I do not.
I'd rather call my little siblings who draw furry art at school and get their respect. their
not the furry art.
But I'd like to talk to Hector, like more about the bullying in school, how school is now. Like I feel so far away from it, but I still think there's stuff that happened during my time in school, that during Dennis's, during Greenfly's, during Jax's, that still happens today.
Yeah. So, I mean, plus, I think it'd be I can see that Hector's in like the little waiting room that you've made to be dragged in.
Right.
I think it'd be cool to hear from Hector anyway, just because, as you say, you lot are now so far removed from school. As I said,
Right.
the experiences that I saw in like school in England, they just seem so different. Like I can't imagine a lot of the stuff that like people said, oh yeah, I got beat up for this. I can't imagine that.
Right. But
So
I mean,
I think
guess,
it'd be pretty cool
have
to
you
get
gotten in a
that sort of
fight at
hands
school?
on. Pardon?
Right.
Have you ever gotten into a fight at school?
Did I get into a fight at school? Yeah, but
Yeah.
it was because someone said they were cooler than me and there wasn't.
Huh?
No, yeah, I've had fights at school, but it was just because people would say stupid shit.
I mean, I guess there's no reason, but we'll go into the fight thing here. I guess our first guest, I guess.
No, he doesn't get to be
Oh.
called a guest.
He's not a
We are
guest.
not having our.
Alright.
He is a
Resource.
Our
We'll
first,
call him special count. We'll call him a special advisor.
our
he's a
first-
research subject.
Our research subject, kind of like a lab rat.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that.
Let's
Yeah.
bring in the Hectot.
Hector.
Yes, unmute.
And you.
So we're gonna bully Hector for the next hour, and we'll see how.
Yeah,
he
we are
does.
gonna we
Were
are
we
gonna
just talking
prepare him
about
for
a
school.
bullying problem?
Yeah, we're gonna
Anyways.
prepare him for school.
No, I'm just.
I
interested
do want to
on-
bring up a factor. I do want to bring
Oh.
up a factor that directs to Hector and school nowadays is the biggest fucking cat or elephant in the room. I don't know why I said cat, but COVID and online classes.
I'm not gonna lie, I cannot imagine having to go through that.
I cannot, but that stopped a lot of for the past 2 years. It stopped a lot of social action that happens in school, right?
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
I'm not
it's
saying
bad
it's a
thing.
good thing or a bad thing.
I
I
think-
think it impacts on what we're talking about. On
I think it's a
being
bad thing because I think
wanna hear
kids
from-
need to have
I do want-
social
yeah.
interaction.
I do want to
Yeah,
hear from
yeah,
Hector
of
on that
course.
because I can. So my oldest son, his entire kindergarten year, his first year officially of school, he was remote, and that's when I was also working from home. So no, I want to hear Hector's side of that too because that's I saw it firsthand.
Yeah. Well, when Hector decides to actually unmute and talk to the rest of us,
I doubt it.
then we'll hear his side. But I mean, Hector's
Oh.
been around the community for a long time, since the beginning of me doing this. So I kind of have an idea on how his online school goes, and I think he's glad to be back in school. I'm hoping that's
Oh yeah,
what most people
Young,
are.
like, I mean, I say young people like I'm not a young person. I'm
stop
24,
looking at me.
but like, kids need social interaction.
Oh yeah, of course.
They need social interaction, but not in that. Like, you look at it now, and you speak about it. Homeschooling, I'm telling you now, especially in England,
Sounds
right?
good. Yeah. I should-
When they're like, all right, yeah, we're gonna have, if they did like, oh yeah, now would be like a sports class or PE, physical education. No kid went and actually did what they were supposed to be doing during that hour of a lesson. No one went outside for a run. They sat there and went, nah, COD looks more fun. FIFA looks more fun. You need to be in situations where you are actually at that age sometimes pushed to do physical activity, because otherwise you are just ruining yourself when you get older.
Right. Yeah, we won't even talk about participation trophies or anything like that.
Oh,
What
good.
the kids get these days.
Yeah.
Versus actually getting trophies. But I would like to just kind of step aside and and let Hector kind of answer
Shed a light on
questions
the
and
subject.
shed a light onto the subject. So Hector.
So yeah, obviously for chats, anyone that's got any questions
I would like to.
or that would you
yeah,
want
go
to
ahead.
have answered by Hector, feel free to drop them in any of our chats. We'll get them relayed to him, and we'll get some answers for you guys all, because I assume a lot of you are just as intrigued as we are. So Hector,
Yeah.
the
Wait, what do I say?
podcast is yours.
Yeah.
What are we talking about?
Well, basically,
You-
I mean, we're talking about how school is and like bullying and stuff like that, and
Oh, yeah, there's bullying for sure.
right. Do you think it's based on
Clout?
money? Do you think it's based
Yep.
on your interest? What do you think it's based on? And feel free to share. Like I said, I didn't get bullied, Crazy obviously got bullied. Greenfly didn't get bullied. I'm not sure. Jack said he slept
You
in
can't
class.
say Crazy obviously got bullied.
Because he said it in
You can't
chat.
word it like that.
No,
I
he
think
said
you
it in
can,
chat.
to be fair.
I can say it because he said it in chat. So like, I'm just saying that he says it in
Yeah,
chat.
but
so,
you have to word it as unfortunately got bullied. You can't go, yeah, he obviously got bullied. at school."
obviously crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, I try to bully him, but he comes back. But like, back to Hector here. Do you think whether you bully people or whether you don't, whether you get bullied or whether
Wait,
you
we're
don't,
not talking about that right now.
we're not talking
We're
about
not.
whether you bully people?
Yeah.
All right, we
Are
won't
you
talk about.
are you a little bad?
I
Are you a little bad person, Hector?
I
Hector,
think we can
Hector,
all
are
be
you a bully?
guilty at some point about bullying
What?
somebody.
Yeah, I think everyone said something, even if they mean it as a joke. I think
Especially-
everyone said
Especially in
something
the
that-
younger years of
Yeah.
being at school, we absolutely all have to be guilty of bullying.
Like, even if it was something you meant as a joke, you've probably said someone took
Took
offense to and got
yeah,
really
took it-
upset about,
took it
and that
hard.
is what
That's
bullying is.
what you want
Right.
to. But
Yeah.
yeah,
All right, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Hector. What do you think the point of a bully is? Like in school, like why? Is it because of interest? Is it
It's
because
enjoyment.
of money? It's because of
Oh.
enjoyment.
wait.
Is that what you said?
Why people get bullied?
No, not just in general, but like at your school, like. You know,
how's
what,
school going? Not hold on, I got this, dumb man.
got
Because you're so far
I'm
away from
confused.
this.
Yeah,
Let me get
Jax
this.
is the youngest. Let's let Jax take control of
I'm
it.
stuck.
Dennis, check Discord real quick.
No, man.
Uh,
How's school going, Hector?
pretty lit. Not gonna lie.
Good grades?
Yeah.
Lots of friends?
Yeah.
Are you happy to be back to go, like physically going back to school instead of doing the online classes?
Yeah. I failed all my classes online.
Online, really?
Yeah.
Why do you think that is?
Cause I joined the meeting and you just left.
Did you not show up to your online classes?
I did, but I just left.
Oh,
I just had it running.
you just joined the Zoom call and just left your computer.
Yeah.
All right. Would you say it's because there's like more distractions at home, where if you're physically at school, you're forced
Definitely.
to be there? Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Let's see. I've taken charge of this and I wasn't prepared at all.
I got you, Jax. I got you, Jax.
All right.
So,
All right, I'll let you
Hector,
take this.
as
Yeah.
my online stepson, I'm very disappointed to hear that
Yeah.
you did not do online classes as you should have. But so what about it? What about the online? Were you just not interested, or was it just that you knew that you can get away with not being there?
Both.
Both. Okay. Was there a subject that you did get excited about doing online?
Science, because that teacher was lit. He was like a kid, like a teen.
Mhm.
He was like,
Okay.
he was lit. You feel me?
Do you think that the teachers weren't properly equipped to keep students engaged for online learning?
I don't know what that means.
Do you think the
I
teachers
think that proves the point that they were.
The
But,
teacher,
what I
no,
will say is,
let me translate.
I don't think you can blame teachers for that.
Let me
They
translate.
were set up to
Right.
fail with online schooling, because if you set it up and if you get them in a classroom, they can see what's happening. They can see Hector's being an idiot at the back of the class, and they can literally tell him to shut up or to concentrate and stuff like that. And we had that in England. We had people that would like just be sat at the back, not paying attention. And a teacher would call you out for it. Like they'd be like, "Listen," or "Get out."
Oh, we
Because
just get.
I'm not going to waste my time speaking to you 6 times when everyone else is paying attention.
There's definitely
You can't-
more repercussions
You
being in
can't
an
do that
actual
online because, as
classroom.
Hector just said,
Right.
90% of the class aren't there.
You're in your own room. You could just stand up and walk away from.
Oh,
Yeah,
and then
the
like they're
device.
trying to tell me to
Go
turn on my
back, go and
camera.
have a nap.
I didn't even clean my room. Like, chill out.
Clean your room, first of all.
Yeah, I know you didn't clean your room, Hector. Well, I talked to you about that several
You know what I
times
don't
already.
understand? Why do people make the beds? They're just gonna sleep in it 8 hours later.
I think it's comfier when my bed is made
You make your
because
bed, and then
I can get under
I never make my
every
bed. There's no
I can
point.
get under every blanket perfectly.
There's
know
no
what I mean?
point.
You'll learn when you're older. Never.
Making your bed is it's like sleeping. It's like when you wash your bedding and you get it out of the tumble dryer and it's nice and warm. You put it on. Fresh bedding is the best.
His mom still does that for him.
No, she doesn't do
Britt
that.
wants
That's
to
why it's not
interview
made.
Hector. Britt wants to interview Hector. Come on, Britt. Throw some questions
All
on
right.
there. We'll get him asked.
Jack?
So going
Also,
back
Hector,
to
start paying attention at school.
so going back
First
to
of all.
Doman's point real quick here. What Hector? What is the main? You've heard us talk about what I was bullied for in school. Doman, Green Fly Jacks, all that. What would you say? What would you say is the main reason for bullying in school today?
There's a lot of stuff.
Go ahead and just start. Go.
Such as
Definitely what you wear.
So fashion.
so fashion is a huge.
Oh yeah, of course. I think that's
How smart you are.
I mean, in all fairness, people, a lot of that, especially more recently, I think, I'm not going to sit there and say that everyone that listens in school should be really smart, because it's just not how it works. It's never going to work like that.
Oh yeah,
But
of course.
I don't think, especially over the last couple of years, a lot of people that complain they're not smart enough or they don't understand anything, I want to laugh at them, because even Hector's just admitted it. He didn't pay attention. In like
Wait,
online,
what?
he didn't do it.
Oh,
Hector,
yeah.
you just admitted that you join a lesson and then just go do something else.
Yeah.
That is I mean, I'm not just singling you out here. Anyone that did that, that is your own fault.
What? No, it's not.
It is, because if you'd have gone to the lesson and you'd have sat and listened to the teacher, taken notes, studied like you were supposed to do, you might understand more than you did. If you join the lesson and then go,
No,
"Right,
because
I'm
they should have made it more fun. Like the
Then
science teacher,
school
he
isn't
was
meant
fun.
to be fun.
The science
School
teacher was
lessons
the
aren't meant to be fun.
only class I
You
joined.
can't make maths fun. You can't
Yeah, you
make studying
can.
English fun.
Yeah,
Yeah,
There's
but
a
I
lot
think
of
it goes back to Dennis's point from earlier, where the teachers were just at a complete disadvantage. And nobody expected this.
They were set to fail.
Well, of course,
nobody expected
everyone
this,
learns different
but-
as well. Oh, crazy just said that.
Yeah, crazy,
Yeah.
crazy. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying that. Like, I understand there are people that it's not the same for everyone, but the people that went and they did, like what
Where
Hector
was the
said,
last
the
question?
people that went and sat in a lesson and then just didn't pay attention.
because the science teacher, he was lit. He was like pretty young. He was like in his 20s. Like he made you. There's a way you can make learning fun.
Or interactive.
Yeah,
where you
or-
connect
Yeah.
with people. If you just give somebody, I mean, this is, Crazy's got kids, Britt's got kids. They both went through COVID. If you just give an assignment and be like, here, turn this in next week.
That's what they did.
Yeah. I can understand. So, and I'm not saying that's Hector's fault. I'm also not saying that's the teacher's fault.
Nah.
It's
the teacher's
it
fault.
was a systematic decline. Like the
School boards
system,
and
the system failed.
But in counterpoint to that, and to a little bit, some of the questions I ask, I am playing devil's advocate just to get the other side across. Right. You can say that teachers need to make it more entertaining. In that online atmosphere, what's the point in going to the effort to write a more entertaining lesson that's going to get everyone involved when people like Hector are joining a lesson and going and doing something else anyway?
Well, maybe at least at my school, the teachers could actually teach us instead of giving us a Google Doc to fill out and just sit there.
All right, then
Like
what would
being on
be
your
your
laptop.
example of actually teaching you then?
Telling us the
Just
answers.
giving you a paper.
No, that's not teaching, Hector.
Well, no, not that. But do you feel that you're learning more now that you're in physical school?
Yeah.
Do you feel that you're doing better in school?
Well, yeah, kind of.
And do you feel that you're held more accountable
What does that
when you're
mean?
that you
It's
can't?
not
When you
on
get
your
something
shoulder.
wrong, people,
Wait,
it's your fault when you get something wrong and not necessarily.
Don't say
the teacher's.
fault.
No, but that's
what?
more what the
That's-
accountability means.
Yeah.
It's
no,
not
it's not.
just
It's
the
still not
teacher's
my
fault.
fault. It's still not my fault.
Right,
if
but
I get something wrong.
Yeah, I'm not talking about you're.
No, we're
more,
not saying
you're
it's,
more
we're
accountable
not saying
because
you are massively in the wrong.
because
by
if
the
you
way. That's
don't
not what we meant.
because if you don't know an answer, if you're at home virtual learning, you just don't care. But if you're at school and you don't know an answer, you might talk to the teacher. You might ask the teacher, or you might understand a little bit more because it's physical. Like there's actually training going on in school in front of you instead of just you try to figure it out yourself.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's true.
Yeah.
I kind of feel like what remote learning ended up being from not just high schoolers but middle schoolers to elementary school kids, because that's what my kid was in. It really felt like the curriculum was built as if you were doing online college classes, right? That these teachers were expecting their students to be able to use resources like Google or go spend some time outside of class to go actually look up different parts of the subject. That's what it really felt like from what I saw as well, is that there was an expectation of you're doing remote learning, this mindset of as if you're doing online classes for college, right? So in that side of it, do I blame the teachers? Kinda. Yes. But also, again, you got to blame the school system and the school board and the administration for not having a proper plan in place to be able to help these kids. Because when my son went back to school, what they found out when they were testing these kids is that most kids who went from remote to back to in school, they're over a year and a half behind where they should be. They actually regressed because of online school. So do you blame the teacher? Yes. Do you hold the school board accountable mostly for not having the proper curriculum for that? 100%. That's where you got to deal with. But you also got to understand that there's a lot of parents who didn't care either. There's parents who had to go to work that said, hey, here goes a laptop, here goes go to school, right? And they can't be on them as much as they could be because they didn't have that constant support from a teacher who saw them every single day in class. So it was a complete cluster F of everything that crumbled from the top down because it was not organized from the school system's standpoint.
I think, personally for me, and I agree with 100% what Crazy's just said, there is no one size fits all for learning. I was very much more of a visual learner. For example, if I read something in a book, I probably wouldn't retain it that much. For example, maths, I'm surprisingly quite good at maths. But if I got given a maths textbook and I was asked to learn something from a maths textbook, I probably wouldn't understand it that much. But if my teacher went up to the whiteboard and explained it while jotting stuff down, and I was just paying attention to that and listening to what they were saying and stuff, and I wasn't reading it, I learned a lot better that way. Same with science experiments, like where you watched something happen. I was good at that side of it, but reading stuff from a textbook and taking that in on my own, I struggled. So I do get what Chris saying in that there's no one size fits all. For me, one of the best ways to do it is I worked from home. I still work from home, and I have a company laptop, right? My company, when I'm working from home, they can see when I'm not active, and they can sort of see when I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing. And there are times where I will pick up my phone and I will be like, oh, Instagram, and I'll get a message on Teams like, get back to work, kind of thing. If schools had have supplied the laptops, because we all know schools have laptops, a lot of them have a lot of laptops, then they could have very easily, and it is very easily, put software onto those laptops that when they're logged in,
but
they tell you what somebody's doing. And
They did.
They did.
So, and
GoGuardian.com. Look it up.
Right, and you're telling me that a school could see that during an hour lesson, and I'm going to be honest, a school could see that during an hour lesson, Hector, if you logged into that lesson, and then you went and did something else completely and put your laptop down, your school could see that you weren't doing anything and that laptop wasn't doing anything, yeah?
You had to move your mouse, didn't you? Like every so often.
Yeah.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Like
Because then it would state that I was frozen or like inactive for like 5
years.
years.
Or a year and a half of online school, the kids
about
these days smartened up and figured out how to get around the system.
No, but that's what I mean. There's programs that do it every few seconds. So you have to be active. You actually have to be active, taking notes, kind of thing. There's programs that do it every couple of seconds. There were ways around it that schools just that chose not to use. I get that some of them probably did, as Britt says, did have programs, But
It's one of
there
the
are
cheaper
programs out
options.
there, and I know this because I work with one every single day that that tell you your activity every 2 seconds. So you
Ours
either
was
have to
every
be
5
doing
minutes.
something else and moving your mouse at the same time, or you actually have to be there at your laptop moving your mouse, and at that point you might as well just pay attention.
I mean,
On the off chance that you do learn something.
You could be moving your mouse while you're playing Fortnite too, while still having the class up, or surfing, going through Twitter, or going through Instagram, or going through I don't know, TikTok.
Or here you go,
it's pretty
TikTok.
popular.
There you go. Yep.
Yeah,
or just buy an automatic clicker.
Or
make one.
Just download
Or make
macros. Yeah.
So I mean, I know we're kind of getting off the rails here, and chat is very, very opinionated on what about learning and stuff like that. But let's go back to Hector here. Obviously, we talked about bullying and stuff like that. We talked about school. Do you feel did you advance grades over the last 2 years? And you don't have to answer that, I guess. But do you feel? Yeah. Do you feel that?
No, I don't feel like I advanced.
Okay. Do you feel that you're on track to where you need to be? Whatever grade you're in, I don't even know what grade you're in, honestly. You're a freshman, sophomore. You could be 10
I'm in 8th grade.
There's no way that guy's a freshman.
I'm in 8th grade.
But do you feel that you're?
I don't know what
that you're
means.
ready for this year and ready
I'm
for the next
actually
year.
a freshman, but okay.
He's in year 8, Greenfly.
No, he's not. No, he's not.
No.
How old are you, Hector? Hector, how old are you?
He's in middle school.
I am
He's in high
14.
school. He's in high school.
14.
What,
Don't
8?
know how old you are
I
in year
sound
8
like
in
I'm
England,
10.
Dennis?
What?
No.
Because you have
Ninth is freshman, dumbass.
That's what
Right,
he's
your
in.
year. Your years go up to 14, right? Greenfly. 13. I was close. 10 points for me because I was close.
It's close.
You can have 1.5 points for being off.
Fine. He's in what, year 7? He's in year 7.
No.
Greenfly.
If he's 14, he's in year 10.
He's in year 10. Yeah. He's in.
Yeah.
He's in his 9th
Not
year
what he
of
said
school
first.
plus kindergarten. That's his 10th.
So
He
we
said he feels that he's
in
in 8th
3
grade.
you go to nursery and then 4 you go
No,
to
he is
reception.
in 8th grade.
They're like
Jax, what are you, bro? What are you talking about?
Then
I'm
you
Did
not.
you not
years
just say you're in
1 through
your 8th grade?
No, I'm not.
What grade are you
ninth.
in? Oh,
Ninth.
then he is a freshman. Okay.
Okay.
Then you
Now that
have
we've
in England you
established
have
that he's
years
a
1
freshman.
through 6, and then you have 7 through 11, which are mandatory, and actually I think 12 and 13 are mandatory now. They weren't when I was at school. I had to do years to 11, but
Okay.
did all 13.
Not going with the I don't need to learn this stuff or I'm never going to use this stuff. Do you feel that you're ill prepared for what you're learning now, especially since you've gone to a new school? I'm assuming because going from 8th grade
ill
to 9th,
prepared?
that you're not prepared.
Oh my god.
Oh, sorry.
That you're not prepared.
You really
Wait,
should have
wait.
gone to them classes, Hector.
What?
No.
Hector,
Never
if you
mind.
skip English class again, I'm telling your mom.
Yeah. Do you feel that you're not prepared for this school year because of what's happened the last 2 years?
No, because you learn something different.
Okay.
Actually,
but-
that's cap. That's cap.
No.
I'm learning stuff. No, in algebra or in math class, I'm learning stuff from 6th, 7th grade.
I felt the same
As a
when I
ninth
was
grader.
in school.
Yeah.
Do
Oh,
you
so-
guys-
So you
are
you
the-
feel
because
that
you're-
you're behind where you should be, or
And
at least potentially even the teachers feel you're behind where you should be, and that's why they're maybe doing things from a couple of years or grades back to sort of try and catch people up.
The
Potentially,
only classes where you actually have to learn is English and
that's not
and,
true, Hector.
math. Wait, listen, Linda, listen. Now I made me forget what I was gonna say. That's like the only classes you actually learn something.
No,
In
it's not.
Spanish and gym, you don't do shit.
In Spanish, you learn Spanish.
No, you don't. No,
Yes,
you
you
don't.
do.
You
That's
just
the point of the
listen,
class.
Linda. You don't know
¿Dónde
my
está
school.
biblioteca?
Listen. You
The only
don't know
Spanish I
my
know, I never
school.
did Spanish.
In my Spanish class,
That's
all
a
you do.
community reference.
Jesus Christ.
It's a Family Guy reference.
You got the floor, Hector. Go ahead.
in my Spanish class, you just do 25 slides about a country that speaks Spanish. You don't learn Spanish.
So you learn the history of Spanish countries.
Yeah, and then you present it. Like, you don't learn how to speak Spanish.
What country is it?
I don't know. Like Colombia. Wait. It's Colombia. We're learning about Colombia.
I think Hector is a perfect example of if there is any high school or middle schooler who is listening, guys, let Hector be your example of what not to do in school.
Wait,
because also I believe, like going back to Greenfly a little bit. Again, I blame the school system quite a bit. The situations for the parents was terrible, their guardians. But at the same time, dude, I don't care how boring it is. If you're not actually doing the work, that's on you, Hector.
If you're not willing, I understand.
You got to take some responsibility, my guy. I know in 2022
I'm getting bullied.
That this is not. No. See, there's a difference between bullying and mentoring. And that's the problem, is you got to learn the difference. Right? So,
and going back to what Crazy was saying, there is no one size fits all for learning. There never has been, there probably never will be, right? But a kid that's willing to learn will have a chance at learning. A kid that's not willing to learn will never learn. If you're not willing to learn, you will never learn. No, it is true, because you don't want to learn.
Who said that?
Greenfly just
the
said
fact,
that.
well, yeah, true. But if you go to a lesson and you don't pay attention and you don't listen, and you're not going to learn. That lesson could have been the most entertaining way at learning something that you would have ever seen. But if you went there and didn't pay attention to what got said,
well, they can make it.
You were
fun,
never going to learn anyway.
We can read articles about like sports instead of like butterflies.
What?
What are you going to read?
Wait a second.
What are you going to read about sport? What lesson do you want to read articles on sport or butterfly?
Like in English, we have like these articles we read, and then we answer questions. It would be more fun if it was like about sports, or cars, or they have to like do some dumb shit.
Okay. No, let's go off of that. But what about the kids that aren't interested in sports or cars and stuff?
And
like
everybody gets their own article. You get to pick an article you want to do an essay about.
I feel like we're going in circles here.
Instead of having to do it on the one the teacher picks for you. Why can't you just do? Well, if they let me do an article about football or cars, I'll do a whole article.
You want to learn, so you want to learn, but you want to dictate how you learn and what you learn.
Yeah.
That's not
wait. Listen. No, listen. But in English class, we get articles. We make an essay. It'll still be an essay, and I'll still have to have the same theme if we did an article about butterflies and sports, my guy. It's still an essay.
Essay.
But it's not. You're not learning about butterflies. That's not the point of doing an essay.
You're learning the language.
Well, you're learning how to build an essay. Like
exactly. That's why you could learn how to build an essay with your own article.
I mean, I don't disagree with you. I don't because you should. If there's a case like that, but there's other stuff that's not as open. English is a little bit more open because you can talk about different things, but like math, for instance, or science, like
math, you just use a calculator.
Okay.
No, it's not true.
Yes, our teacher says. Our teacher said, algebra is not about what you know. You could use a calculator. It's about common sense. If you fail this class, you don't have common sense.
Your teacher needs replacing him quickly.
Oh, okay.
I never could get a handle of algebra. I never liked
it.
Geometry, though.
That sits there and says, you don't need to learn this because you have a calculator.
Well, that makes
to replace because the point of his job.
We're learning common sense.
You're outnumbered, bitch.
No, he's not. You're not there to learn common sense. You're there to learn maths. Common sense is something you pick up along the way.
But why can't we use calculators then?
You can, but the aim of the lesson of maths is to teach you how to do it if you don't have a calculator.
Well, then why we use calculators for everything?
Yeah, you really shouldn't.
Can I just say a quote real quick?
Well, hold on. Go ahead, Jax.
If you judge a tree by its ability to climb a fish, it is stupid.
I'm a fish.
That's true.
No,
Have
it's
you
the
just
tree
read what-
climbing the fish.
Have you just
Why
read what
would a
Crazy
tree
put as
climb
well?
a fish?
No, I just read what was in chat.
Yeah, you went way over his head, Jax.
All right, hold on. So this actually goes
The tree will
into
break the fish.
so Greenfly is arguing with you.
What's wrong with the fish?
Hold on. Greenfly is arguing with Hector, saying that Hector is wrong about not using calculator. Now, I'm not agreeing or disagreeing, but Greenfly might also be into that range of he's out of school, he doesn't understand what they're teaching. Hector's saying
That-
that
he doesn't know.
Hold
I'm
on.
not blaming Hector. I'm not blaming Hector for that.
Hold on.
I'm blaming
Let
the
me finish.
teacher.
Let me finish. So Hector's saying that they're showing him the calculator, they're making him use the calculator. Hector's in school now. Min is also in school now, and she
say the same
She
thing.
says the exact same thing. They teach us the
Let's
formulas
go.
because we don't need the. They don't teach us the formulas because we don't need them because of calculators. So maybe that's what they're
Exactly.
doing now in school.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm not
I was
blaming
right
that on
for
the
a lot.
students. In any way am I not in no way am I blaming that on the students. That's not their fault. But what I'm saying is, when I was in school, and this might have just been an English thing, we did 2 maths exams. We did a maths exam where you were allowed to take a calculator, and then we did an arguably harder exam where you weren't allowed to use a calculator. You had to figure the answers out in your head. You had to show your work, and you had to do everything else. Because you're not always going to have a calculator. Okay, everyone goes, they've got
Exactly, man.
everyone
Big
goes, oh, we've
facts.
got phones in our pockets and stuff like this. They're not always going to be there. Your phone could die. You're not guaranteed to always have a calculator.
Yeah, you're
And a
always gonna
teacher's
have a
job.
calculator. You're always gonna have.
I mean, I
20
think,
years from now,
I think,
calculators are gonna be.
I think that's the difference of the age difference here. We're
I
talking.
won't even. Oh, go ahead. My bad, though, man.
No, I was gonna say that's the difference because even though Greenfly is closer to the school age than I am, like I think that there's a difference. Like even though Hector's saying it, Min's saying it, that they are expected to have calculators because they're going to have calculators no matter what.
And you also got to understand as well, and Greenfly, and I'm not knocking you either. You got to understand the American education system versus
Different.
the European
that was going to be my
education
next
system.
point. As far as I'm
is
aware,
completely different. Like we'll kick anyone's ass in the Olympics, but when it comes to how smart we are, we can't hang when it comes to the rest of the
kind
world.
of took that
right?
personally.
You know what I'm saying?
I agree with that.
Like there's nothing that we can do.
What the hell are we talking? What is going on?
We're
we just
above
talking
you.
about
Matt thinks
D&D?
that we're not gonna have a calculator with us all the time.
You said
20 years from now,
In-
calculators are gonna be built into the sky. My God.
The top
No, they're
five
not,
the top 5 influencers and TikTokers in the world are all American. Meaning, yes,
I don't know
Americans are
about that.
They actually just came out with a list. You
Did
can
they?
challenge me on that.
Who
All
are
right.
the top 5?
The top 5
You wanna-
TikTokers and influencers are
Send
from
me the
America.
link. I want
What-
to see it.
The point I'm saying is Americans will always have a phone on them, fully charged. We have chargers in our houses, in our cars.
Not true.
We have
Mine's
portable
always dead.
chargers, like all the time. Because you chew through your charger like a dog, Hector. That's why.
That's true. That's true. That's true.
Thank you. But my
Yeah,
point
but I
being
have
is
my
that-
charger in every room of my house.
Point being is Americans always have their phone on them because
And if
for
you
two
don't, you
reasons.
go crazy.
Right, exactly. People don't have a function without their phones. But the European school system and education system is so much far and above, and as far as education wise goes, than the American school system. So Greenfly, I can hear where your frustration comes, but it's simply because of our just the differences in our methods of education.
Agreed with that.
That's the only time I agree with Dennis.
So you guys want to play D&D sometime, or?
At some point, yeah, I'm down.
Right. So
Wait,
no,
what?
I agree with that. And 90 like Crazy says, 95% of adults are gonna have a calculator wherever they are. So it's just the fact of the matter that, do I know how to do math? Yes. Do I know how to multiply? Yes. But
Not in the slightest.
you know, the fallback is I have a calculator in case I have to, and you know, whether it's lazy, whether it's not trying to figure it out, I use it. Now they're just teaching how to use a calculator because that is the way of the future.
Bro, calculators are way more confusing.
That is the way of the future. Is the last thing I expected to hear out of this boomer.
It is. It is. No, well, contrary to belief, we did have calculators in school. However,
I love the fact that I've just gone from sounding like a really, really, really pissed off old man that they're making that calculators are now the most popular thing in the world, and they're only teaching you how to use a calculator to laughing at someone go, "Okay, boomer."
Right.
I think I'm gonna try to start trending something on Twitter. #calculators are the way of the future.
Right.
I'm not retweeting that. I'm not strongly
either.
against it.
You don't have to
I just don't care enough.
Right.
Calculators. How do you spell calculators?
Oh, don't tell me I got the freaking writing level of third grade.
Well, here's the difference of do you want to try to figure it out, Dennis? Do you want to try to figure out how to spell calculator?
Or do you want a machine that tells you how to do it?
Or do you just want to type it and then when the red line comes up underneath it, you click the line and then it
but you know what sucks about that?
I sounded it out.
Right. But that's the difference too of how society is now.
It's like using your fingers to count.
Yeah, like I can spell pretty decent, but
I'll be right back.
There's words that come up that I'm like, I'm not sure exactly if that's how you spell it, so I intentionally misspell it so I can just click
I did that all the time.
So I can just click the line so it'll autocorrect for me.
I did that all the time, but then there's sometimes where you misspell it way too bad that it does it.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't know what you're saying.
Yeah. Well, mine is more of a how like I actually did it earlier today. I was doing something with accommodate, and I couldn't remember if there was 2 M's or whatever. So I literally just spelled it with 1 M to see if it came up. It came up as it was wrong, so I clicked it. Done. Didn't even have to think about it. And that's the difference of
accommodate's CC double M in it.
It is, yes. And I couldn't when I was typing, I couldn't remember if it was 2 M's. So I was like, I didn't really care. I just typed it.
Yeah, that threw me off. When you said I couldn't remember, it threw me off for a second.
Yeah, so I just typed it how I just typed it real quick, changed it, and off I went.
I can't believe you guys do that. Like, I just click the little microphone button on my keyboard.
That's what I do too.
I just say the word that I don't know how to spell.
There's a microphone button?
Yeah. Actually, sometimes, due to my accent, the phone will have no idea what I'm saying.
Happens to me, but I don't have an accent.
Well, I never thought I did either, but apparently my phone, I don't speak English very well.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't know. I just think the society and we've gone from bullying to COVID to society is teaching stupid people now. Not stupid people, but society is.
Would you like to move on? Because I'm fine with that. Yeah, I think we've milked this cow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we can move on. Are we done with the school subject? Hector,
Yeah.
I appreciate you jumping in.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody kick his ass out. Oh,
Thanks for being the first guest. Now get out of here.
Call him that.
You are a research
Crazy.
subject.
You're up next, buddy.
No.
Thank you, Hector.
We do need for anyone in chats, like anyone you can think of that we would probably be willing to do it, that like people in chat or people that we stream with that you want to hear things.
I have friends.
Good for you, dude.
No, I bet I have friends that I've been up.
That was his daily affirmation of self-confidence.
I have friends.
No.
So weird. We need people. I have friends.
No. As I was saying,
You have friends.
I've been invited on a podcast before, and I've made some friends to that.
Oh,
so I have.
Humble
If
brag.
you have
There you
friends.
go, man.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is you have potential guests.
Yes, I do.
Right, that's cool. But again, in chat, anyone that, like, for example, that we
Don't-
stream.
Well, and I think it's
No,
obviously
I'm not covering over that. They're that put their names in, like, the Discord, and, like, we can look at getting people on. But there are
No,
people that
that's
we streamed
nice.
Among Us with. For example, there's like Fluffy Moon or Brit, who's played Among Us with us, and people that are crazy. Another, like, streamer that plays Among Us and stuff like that with us quite a bit. If people want to get, like, hear from them, we can get them on. So feel free to drop stuff in the Discord for us as, like, potential guests, potential topics to speak with those people on, and we can look from there at getting our first official full episode guest on. But moving on, anyone else got anything that we want to speak about that's not Jax having friends?
Jax has friends.
Jax does have friends.
Does he now? Are
What
they
else?
Yeah.
Are they make believe?
More friends than you fucking boomer.
Boomer.
Let me tell you a very good life lesson there, Jax. As you get older, the less friends, the better. Trust
Yeah,
me.
definitely.
Sounds sad.
It doesn't
It-
actually. It
it's
sounds
true.
amazing. Trust me, it's
And-
amazing.
What do you classify as a friend? And this is actually a discussion that I've had with people.
There we go.
I have 5. I probably have 5 friends. I can count them on one hand. And when I say that, I'm talking about people that if I call them at 3 o'clock in the morning and I need them, I know there's about 5 people
Yeah, I don't think I'm any more than 5. I'd say around
in
5
my
or 6.
life. Now, I know a lot of people. There's a lot of acquaintances I have. There's people that
Yeah.
I can see on the street and I can talk to. I can have a drink with. I can
Yeah.
stuff like that. But the number of people that you have that at 3 o'clock in the morning, and I'm not saying you got into a fight or anything, but 3 o'clock in the morning the shit hit the fan, and you
Yeah.
needed to call somebody, would you hesitate to call? And I got about 5.
Yeah, I'd say
probably
I'm
my-
in that ballpark of about 5 or 6.
right. And not
I'd
family,
say those
not
are
family.
closer friends. I wouldn't just say they're just friends. No, but
No, but that's what I would consider a friend. Like, acquaintances, you can say are friends. They're just more distant friends.
yeah, of course.
I think what you're saying is a friend is what I'd consider an acquaintance, and I think that's kind of the point that Doe's getting at as well.
Right. Yeah, no, I mean,
So in my chat said his one hand is his friend.
that's my other hand.
No, that's so. In the very corny words of Dominic Toretto, I don't have friends. I got family. Sorry.
The second you said Dominic Toretto, I knew it was coming. I was like, no.
So, no, same thing, man. I mean, the amount of friends
Yeah.
I could actually count on one hand, and I wouldn't have to think twice on it.
Yeah.
So no, exactly. If something hit the fan at 3 a.m., or the best way I put it, kind of like what you're saying, Doe, man, if I get picked up and I'm in jail at 2 o'clock in the morning, my one phone call will not be wasted. We'll just say that. Because
Yeah.
it's probably, I know exactly who to call and who to pick up, yes.
Now, we'll go back on that one. I want to touch back to what we just talked about. Dennis and I should be able to call somebody from jail, and they'll come and pick us up. Jax, Greenfly, and even Hector, can you call somebody? And when I say this, can you call them because you know what their number is?
Yeah,
I can't
Ooh.
remember numbers, so that's the only problem with me.
Because nowadays, and Jax and Greenfly, you're both in the same boat, everything's on your phone. Like, I know phone numbers of people because...
I do have a couple of friends that I know their phone numbers
Okay.
off the top of my head.
I know one phone number, but that's the only reason I know that is because it was back when home phones existed.
Right.
And it's a home phone that hasn't been active for
I'll say,
well over
so they don't have that phone number anymore.
20 years. Oh, yeah.
Actually, yeah,
of
that's
course.
the point. I've known this number a long time. They may have got a new phone number by now.
Right. I know your mom's phone number. Yes. Yeah. But no, I mean that kind of circles back to technology these days. Is like, if I was in jail, I could just tell you a phone number to call.
Although, if I'm not mistaken, in prison nowadays, you can make that call from your phone.
I'm sure you can. I'm sure that.
Yeah, like
access to it.
I'm pretty sure they don't just make you go. You don't know the number, back inside kind
Right,
of thing.
right.
Like,
I feel-
I
I
do
feel
think
like-
you can.
I feel like we need to test that theory. Who's gonna take one for the team?
All right, I
Uh,
got this.
Yeah, Jackson.
I'm English. I can't do it. We got a broken prison system over here, so I'm not doing it.
You want to talk about broken prison
That's a
systems,
different
buddy?
subject for a
I
different day.
can't do it. I can't do it. I do IT for the prison system. I'm not allowed to get arrested.
Right. So,
Well,
I don't even know what we were talking about before calling.
Friends.
Oh, your number of
Yeah.
friends. Your number of
Friends,
friends that
yep.
you have.
I'd
Jack
say
claimed he had friends, and we called him out on it. Name them.
I don't know if y'all remember the T-Mobile Fave 5. I didn't have 5 people to put in my Fave 5, and that was back then.
Right. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I can count on one hand the number of. For now, I have a lot of friends. Like it's, I think we
Yeah.
all have acquaintances, friends that you consider friendly with, and that you would whatever. And I'd have them in my house and this and that. Like I have a lot of friends that way, but like people that
I'd
are
definitely say
friends.
I've got three best friends, right? Like the absolute best. Like I'd die for these people. That's it. But yeah, sure. I have lots of friends and acquaintances and stuff like that. Would I kill someone for these? Just to be determined.
What do you consider best friends? That's a different type of question.
No, you're not.
Like I think as you grow older, you don't have a best friend. You have you have the friends that you know you can.
You've got a friendship circle.
So
that mess with you. Like
So,
Yeah.
before I give this movie quote, Domain, have you seen the movie The Town with Jeremy Renner and Ben Affleck? Okay, there's a scene in that movie, and it's about friendship. I promise. There's a scene in that movie where Ben Affleck goes to Jeremy Renner and he says, "Hey, I need your help. I can't tell you what we're doing. I can't tell you why we're doing it, but we're gonna go hurt some people." And Jeremy Renner's response is, "Whose car are we gonna take?" How many friends like that do you have?
3.
Go- I mean-
5 or 6.
You want to
Yeah.
know something funny? I don't know if you heard it, but my younger cousin sitting behind me, and when I said I had 3 people that I'd fucking die for, he goes, "Ha, I'm not in those top 3.
The person in your house right now. is
Yeah,
not one
I'm
of the
sitting
people
right
you're talking
behind me.
about.
It's not in that top 3.
But I think he's
Awkward.
excluded though. He's excluded because you said that's your cousin. I think family's excluded from that because blood
don't-
is thicker than water
I don't
sometimes.
think so.
Sometimes.
It's not a first cousin.
Lots faster than water too.
But I like I have family. I have friends that are closer than family, but I have family that are in that realm too. But like I said, it's just basically not related friends. Like
Yeah, there are only 5 or 6 friends that I would like physically fight somebody for.
right. Yeah, I mean, and like
I
I
don't
said,
mean fight somebody because I still want them to be my friend. No, he's my friend, not yours.
yeah, and like
Kind
I
of
said,
fight.
that
I mean, like if they got in trouble, I would.
I think that changes like the level of friendship. I don't think the close friends, those 5 friends, ever change unless something happens. But like, like my when I got married, my best man, like I would have done anything.
Well,
like,
you're
We're
married.
not. No, not anymore. Fuck no.
Hey, Greenfly. It took us 7 years to get him out of that depression. Okay, do not bring that up.
Way to
again.
go.
Okay.
Well, this is the
Actually,
first
it's
one.
been-
Yay,
it's been 7
divorce.
years. It's actually been 7 years.
I don't know how to go back from that.
Yeah.
What?
You don't. We keep moving forward. Good, continue, Domain.
I just scream, "Yay, good divorce," and we move on.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
go.
mean, I'll talk about it. It doesn't matter to me. But like my best man, like was somebody I was from kindergarten from. Like we grew up together, everything like that. But like he's not in that group anymore. Like we're still tight, but he's not in that my fave 5. As,
Of course.
As it said.
It changes. It's up to you. Right.
Right.
You can change people in and out of that group.
You can, but you don't.
You,
I mean,
you
unless
usually
something
should,
happens.
I think.
Unless
Yeah.
something happens, like, and I'm
Yeah,
sure you say this all
Yeah.
the time, like, hey, I haven't talked to that guy in, 8 years, but it's like nothing, like, we started talking again, and, like, we missed
It's like
nothing.
Nothing changed.
Yeah, nothing changed. Like,
One of the people in my top 3 I haven't talked to in well over like 2 years, and I'd still fucking kill somebody for it.
right. Yeah,
Easy.
Do you notice how I said fight and Jack said kill?
yeah,
Oh yeah.
it's a translation thing. It's alright.
Yeah.
Jax's top 3 means more to Jax than mine do.
Just
Who's
look
the
at
guy
Jax.
in the hockey mask?
Just look at Jax's little logo there.
Yeah.
Do you-
Who's
do you-
the guy in the hockey mask?
right?
Wait, Jax, can I just say, these 3 people you'd kill for, they're your fellow podcast hosts.
Don't think you don't Greenfly. Don't hurt. There ain't nothing. That answer has nothing but hurt feelings and sad dreams, buddy.
Exactly. Now, what I am concerned with about that, though, is Jack said he would, like, kill for people, so he has 3 people he'd kill for, or he would kill. There's 3 little slashes on your mask there. Does that represent the people that you've killed?
No, that is.
Okay.
There is.
Jack,
on the
I have a
actual
question,
mask-
just because of how you worded it.
Yeah.
You said that you would kill for those 3 people. What if one of those 3 people wanted you to kill one of the other 3?
I'm killing all 3 of us.
I like it. In a video game, of course.
It's all or nothing, baby.
Hypothetically. So,
Hypothetically.
He's choosing
okay,
death
so-
wish in that final mission of GTA 5.
So here we go. So Greenfly, question for you: do you have a friend or, as I say over there, a mate that
no, we
if
say
you-
friend.
friend? Okay, I apologize. If you have a friend call you and they're like, "Hey, it's 1 a.m. I need you to come to my apartment, or I need you to come to my flat, or I need you to come to my house," right? You pull up. There's a dead body there.
Hmm.
Do you have anybody who you're hiding that body with?
Well, yeah, the person that called me.
They
No.
better
I'm
help
talking
me.
about. No, I'm talking about. Do you have that type of friend that you would hide a body with?
I do, but I wouldn't need them. I have my older sister, and she is very much ride or die. We are so close, it's unreal. If I needed to hide a body,
This
I
is
am not going
hypothetically,
to
of
one of my
course.
friends.
Hypothetically.
No, this
Yeah,
is
of
2
course.
weeks ago.
We're hypothetically hiding a body.
No, this is 2 weeks ago.
All right. Well, we're gonna have to cut
No,
it
but
there.
like, I
Thanks for
That's a
joining
movie
the Still
prop
Talking
right there.
podcast. We won't be back ever again after that.
No, so I probably have friends that, like, I have a couple of friends that if I needed to do something like that, I could probably call upon. Again, I also have
I
my
got
sister.
you. I'm flying over right now. Where are we hiding at?
I have no idea why we're talking about dead bodies. I mean, I'm not sure.
I don't know. I didn't bring this up.
Yeah.
You just asked the Englishman about
I
death.
would definitely help Doman hide a dead
I'll-
body in
I'll
a van.
take the blame for this
Nice.
because I'm a very I don't want to say murderistic because that puts a bad image for me. I'm a very gory person.
Can I say that? Does that work?
Yep, that's fair.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm kind of with crazy on this. I ain't getting life for anyone. Like that.
I'm not sharing no sugar with nobody either. Crazy,
Yeah,
especially if you're putting
that's
raisins
a,
in the tater salad.
No raisins in the tater salad. Don't do that.
No, no
What?
raisins in the tater salad.
Jax needs a hug
What?
and a Slurpee. Jax needs something.
What the fuck? Who the fuck mentioned raisins and potato salad?
It's tater salad, not potato.
There is an entire race of women that we call Karens that put raisins and potato salad over your stateside green fly, and it ruins the potluck every single time.
Oh, that's fucking great. Oh, that's lovely.
We have Karens as well, but they're just people that complain to management about everything.
Oh, this is a whole nother level. This is like mob boss level 7 Karen. And they just keep escalating.
You've reached
Like
the
they-
final boss.
Right. Well, we haven't reached the final boss. That's what's scary. We don't know where this evolution will end.
I love that.
So anyone that's called Karen in the chat, this is aimed fully at you.
I haven't looked.
I'm
at,
joking. I don't
No
know.
Man's Chat in quite
I
some
know
time.
a Karen that's not a. I know a Karen that's not like well, for lack of a better word, that's not a bitch. But yeah. But yeah, no, that raisins and potato salad.
I'll take a Snickers. Crazy.
It satisfies.
Snickers.
Yeah.
So, anything else, Jax, that you want to go over? Any bullet points, other than obviously?
If you guys want to,
Jax, do you want
one of my
Jax?
props.
Jax, yeah. Do you want to go back to your very first point that
The
we
one
talked
we
about last week, man? Because
Yeah, the
dude,
one we discussed
I've
off
actually,
air.
I'm not gonna lie, man. I hyped myself up for that point honestly all week. I was so excited to talk
Yeah.
about this because I'll be very. I mean, I have absolutely no idea
Yeah.
when it comes to that subject matter or that or what we were talking about, dude.
Yeah,
I'm
but-
literally wanting to be a sponge and an open book. I want you to
Yeah.
learn me.
So
I like
all right,
that, Dennis.
I-
I think I hit that nail on the head as far as me and you are concerned. What you've just said.
all right.
I have a
That
question.
topic is
Before you go
so
there,
alien to me.
before you go there, please, just 1 second. I'd just like to address Crazy's comment here. He said, "Bob, if your ass calls me down to see a dead body, I'm calling the fucking police on your ass." I wouldn't call Crazy down to see a dead body. What I would do is take that dead body to Crazy's house and then leave.
That's so smart.
And then call the
That's so
police.
smart.
So, in theory, allegedly, if that were to ever happen.
Allegedly.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
So,
So
I just
are
want
you
to
saying-
address that.
Are you saying allegedly drop all dead bodies off at Crazy's house?
Yes, if there was a dead body, I wouldn't call
Allegedly.
Crazy
All right.
to come here. I would just take it to
Okay.
him and then go from there.
So what you're saying, though, man, that 5 turned into 4 with Crazy's comment.
That 5 became 4 real
It,
quick.
it became 4 real quick. Yeah, I didn't say that.
yeah.
Yeah,
We don't have to
allegedly.
say it. We don't.
Allegedly.
Yeah, we don't.
You don't have to say
Hypothetically, like we said.
Anyways,
okay. I'm sorry. I didn't
before
mean
we
to
get into the
distract
no,
that. We are at 2
I have a-
hours though, so I mean,
Yeah.
if you don't want to go over this, we can save this for
Oh,
another
no,
time.
I'm more than happy to.
Okay, I'm just.
I mean, I suppose.
Usually around this time I'll take a nap before work, but I actually overslept today, so it's fine.
proud of you.
But before I get into this, before I start asking your questions, I have a question for you. All three of you.
Okay.
Okay.
So you're all straight, right?
I am.
Yes, I am.
All of you are straight.
All right. Yeah. Yeah, that was my only question. I am not, by the way, for everyone in chat.
That is
Have
the
you-
weirdest
have you-
segue into a topic I've ever.
Yeah. Have you?
That
have
was
you
my question.
so, Jack, have
That is
you
all.
come out to anyone else?
What? Yeah, of course. I've been out of the closet for.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm gonna make the assumption that 3 people on the internet were not the first people
The
to
first
find
few,
out.
yeah. I think
Yeah.
Dennis thought that last week that we were
I
finding
know, I
out
really did.
that we got the
No,
nuclear
I
codes to
really-
something last week.
Dude,
that,
Jax, dude, please forgive me. I'm
I-
so sorry. Man. I really thought
did-
you that was your moment. I was like, oh my god.
No,
I need to
I
stay on
did.
the call.
I mean,
did-
like the thing is,
I
right,
did
even
hear
then,
the excitement in your voice.
Like,
Sis. I thought you were just
even
excited
then-
to meet a gay person.
No.
Like, I've never met a gay person in my life before. Oh my god.
I know one. No, but I
I'm
think
diverse.
even like
I'm woke.
even like as much as I knew instantly by the fact he told 3 people he met on the internet, I knew we weren't the first people to find out. But
Yeah.
the fact, like, he felt so open speaking about it, like with me, who like it lives across the world, and I know
I'm
knows
surprised you
internet.
guys didn't know beforehand. I thought it was
Like,
obvious.
I think it's pretty cool that to be so open with it.
Yeah.
I wasn't always this way.
I mean,
All right.
Hold on.
well, go back to
First
what
of
you
all-
said there, Jax. Like you said, I'm surprised you didn't know. It didn't matter.
Yeah.
And it
No,
doesn't
no,
it
matter.
didn't.
Of course it doesn't.
So
matter.
that's
Yeah,
what-
of course, yeah, no, I agree with that. But
So
what I will say is, like, there's a lot of. I have to be careful with how I word this because I don't want to offend anybody, and I don't know the sexualities of everybody in chat.
Go-
I'm
go-
gonna try and
No, go full ham
As long as you don't say anything against Tia.
TOS. Go full
Uh,
ham.
no, like I'm gonna try and be as respectful as I can when I word this. Like, there are people of, sort of gay sexual preference, pansexual, and stuff like that, that they are, you can very easily tell by one
they have the gay
conversation that they are homosexual, or
They have, yeah,
they
have the
come
gay
across as
accent.
very camp, and you can
They're very
really
flamboyant.
you can tend to put two and two together.
Uh-huh.
With Jax, there is nothing in like
'Cause
there was
all
never
chaos.
a time.
This is all chaotic. This is all chaotic.
This is all an act.
I would like to say I'm not just like I'm not like straight gay. That's not what I meant. I'm not like gay.
I mean,
right?
in that case,
I
right?
am-
So we have worded it as
I am not a
Jax
homosexual. I am pansexual, which means I like stop looking at me. Which means sorry.
I'm sorry.
about
I'm
that.
just so intrigued. I'm sorry. I'll stop.
I was talking to my cousin behind me.
Dennis, for anyone that Jax, for anyone that doesn't know, what is
I am pansexual, which means I like everybody, not just guys, not just girls, but everyone on the spectrum. Everyone's absolutely fucking adorable with me.
So wait,
So let me ask you a
again, this
question.
is going to sound really, really potentially.
Okay, you're gonna ask my question for me. Go ahead, Green.
To
Go ahead,
me,
Green.
somebody that liked everybody that is in like males and females, that was bisexual.
Yeah, I will give you the Google definition right here.
Again, I don't want to sound disrespectful, but I always thought
No.
people that were sexually interested in both was bisexual.
No. That
was gonna be my question, Green.
It's a little different. This is pansexual, not limited in sexual choice with regard to biological sex, gender, or gender identity, which is not just male or female, but everyone over the spectrum. For asexuals,
For what they identify as.
gender
Yeah.
neutral, trans,
Right.
everything on the spectrum. For me, it's usually personality based, but it's sometimes it's physical too. So it's just not one thing as well.
How long have you?
No.
God, this is gonna sound so terrible, man.
When did I come
How
out of the
long you-
closet?
How long have
I'm
you
not even
known?
asking when. I'm like, what kind of brought you to this revelation of yourself, or when did you have kind of this revelation of yourself?
Believe it or not, it was from me going to a private Christian Catholic school.
I've heard that before. It's okay.
I looked
Was it a-
around.
Was it an
saw
all boys
the-
Catholic school?
No.
Okay.
I looked around. It was, I want to say it was between when I was 12 and 16, or it was that type of time where being gay was all right. It was starting to become a thing that started being accepted and stuff like that. Like I remember in the early 2000s, everyone used to get picked on or being accused of being gay, being harassed for that when people weren't and stuff like that. It was definitely when I was in elementary, you'd get picked on for that stuff. But once I got into middle school, it became sort of this thing where it's like, yeah, it's all right. And that was about the time I realized, yeah, everything's all right. I like everybody. I don't have to be limited to just one type of people. And not long after gay marriage was legalized in most of the states here in the U.S. Yeah.
That'll lead me to my next question. Actually, is marriage something you see yourself coming to a point at one point in your life?
When I was younger, I wanted to, but now I'm not so sure. Same with having kids. I don't care.
That was gonna be my follow up. Yeah.
I've been a stepdad before. I like other people's kids. I just don't like my own. When I was younger, especially when I first started being Christian Catholic, I had this very certain view, like the church's view, where you don't screw until you're married, and you want to married, settle down, and have kids. And I've tried to move away from that, and I don't care for all that anymore. I mean, if it happens, it happens, but
So, follow-up question from you just mentioning there that it was around like the age of 12 and 16 where you sort of realized
I want to say it was like 2011.
yeah, and you were at a Christian Catholic school.
Yeah.
What did you feel like extra pressure on maybe coming out, given that there is a stigma at least? I know that there are the opinion and the sort of social outreach and stuff like that is changing. It is slowly coming round to the more modern day things.
I
Did you
saw
feel like an extra pressure just because of the environment you were in?
I might have pushed out a little too soon. Does that make sense? Like, yeah, it was starting to become a popular thing. A lot of people were coming out, and it's just I hopped on the bandwagon. You know?
Yeah, but like what I meant by that is like I can imagine with it being a Christian Catholic school, there was quite a lot of backlash.
Care. I did not care for what was going on, or like in that. Like I saw the church's view, which was very much against it, being in that private school, and it was just like, yeah, I don't agree with this. There's a few things I didn't agree with at the church, which is why I'm no longer part of it.
Do you feel that it was harder to come out because of the religion that you were in, or because you're Native American, correct?
Yeah, I am.
Or because of your being Native American? Was there a pushback from that?
No, I haven't actually had that much push against me coming out, especially when I came out when I was in that private school. Actually, a lot of my classmates got a lot of support. I also got a lot of support from my family. Surprisingly, my grandma, who got me into that school, was very supportive because she believed in love is love, and you love who you love, of course. Right. She was a very loving person. I'm very grateful that I got that kind of support. And the Native American side, my mother is bisexual. She's dated women before even I was born. So I wouldn't say I got support. I got acceptance out of that. Same with my father. My father doesn't care either way. He's like, yeah, good for you.
I mean, this kind of circles the entire conversation we've had for the last 2 hours. Do you think that's because it's more, as it should be, it's more acceptable now or in the 2000s, 2010 time frame, as opposed to, I mean, you can't answer this because you weren't alive then, but
of course, of course.
As opposed to if you were even 10 years older.
Yeah,
or 15
I definitely
years older.
feel privileged in that sense that I think it was a good time to come out, and it suits me.
Right.
You know, I've dealt with homophobes before, and blatant, just absolute hatred for me because of who I am. But it's not. It could have been so much worse if it was earlier, and I do feel grateful for the time and the social aspect of it, of course.
Right.
And to be fair, I'm a bit of a trailblazer for my family, excluding my mom. But when I came out, changed my name to Jax. My little sisters who came out, one of the little sisters came out as bisexual, and the other one is still trying to discover themselves. But I've changed their name due to me changing my name, basically. But I told them both that it takes time to discover yourself, and I don't think of course I came out when I was middle school, but I don't think I was fully myself, fully accepted my name change and what my sexuality was, because it takes time to discover yourself and basically what you're into.
Okay.
And I didn't think that until I was about 17 or 18, even maybe after that.
All right, you've opened the door on that then. Why? I mean, I don't want to know But
I don't want to know, but I'm gonna ask.
No, I don't want you to give me too much information. But why a name change? Like what does that do?
It sparks like a new person, right? Of course, I'm still my own self. I still have all my old experiences and stuff. It's just a better way of expressing myself.
And you were how old when you changed your name?
When I started using this name more often, not that I have any.
Is this an official name change, like on your license or whatever?
No, not on my license, because sure, some people will, mostly in the trans community, but I'm not personally bothered by my birth name, right? I'll still use it for legal and work and official reasons, of course.
Right.
This is just the name I prefer.
Okay.
This is more of me. This is not what was handed to me.
Okay.
That makes sense.
But you felt that you needed to change the name to change your, at least what you are recognized at by friends, peers, stuff like that, as opposed to.
Felt more comfortable to me. Okay. I didn't think it was it needed to happen. It happened pretty naturally.
Okay.
Being on in an online community and having online friends and setting usernames definitely helps with that, because you get often called your username.
Right.
And it just eventually it became more natural and it just felt right. So that's what I stuck with.
It felt right. Does that mean that you feel more comfortable?
Oh yeah.
More comfortable as an online person?
I'm not saying I'd use Jax as just for online, because it's second person quite often.
Okay.
Even my dad will call me Jax sometimes.
Okay.
But
that was going to be my next question. Obviously, you mentioned that the name change isn't legal; it's just something you feel more comfortable with. Is that something that, you said Native American background and things like this? Is that something your family sort of were willing to take on board and acknowledge, or are they still very much birth name kind of?
My mother will stick to my birth name, including with my siblings, which is not the most progressive thing, but if that's the person who named us, she won't stick with it. It's hard to argue with it. But other than that, everyone, my siblings say Jax. My dad says Jax. My roommate, my cousins say Jax. Everyone does. The only time I hear my birth name is at work, legal reasons and stuff like that.
Do you get mad? Because I'm aware of some people, if they kind of change their name and stuff like that, they don't want to be called the old name.
Of course. That's why I try to say birth name instead of dead name, because when people say, "Oh, don't use my dead name," that name is dead to them. My birth name isn't dead to me. It's just I don't use it as often.
And when did you start changing your name?
When did I first get this? I want to say I got this name back in.
Well, I mean, probably when you got your screen name, I guess, when you got it. But when you started to actually, having other people call you that outside of online.
Actually, I don't remember. But my username wasn't always Jackson K Forge. It was ODST from ODST Halo 3.
Well, the reason I'm going with that is, say you had a friend that you went to school with that would know you by your birth name.
Right.
And they ran into you. And,
about
ran into you at a coffee shop and be like, hey, whatever. Hey, hi, whatever your name was. How you doing? Would you stop them and correct them? You're like, my name is Jax now.
I'd bring it up casually. I wouldn't be angry about it. I'd be like, "Oh, I go by Jackson, by the way."
Oh, okay. So I mean, I don't want to play stupid here, but like you're okay with if they
The
make
other
a
name.
mistake. Well, I'm just saying that
Yeah,
not make a mistake, but like they've known you, so they knew the other
Yeah.
name, so you don't get offended by that.
I won't say they knew the past me because it's still me.
Right. But they knew that
it'd be a
name.
lot different.
But
yeah.
they knew you by your previous name.
I want to say it'd be a lot different if it was a trans person because they transitioned from being one gender to the other, right?
And their last name would be dead to them. They're a new person basically, but still hold the same experiences and stuff.
Okay. Yeah, I guess that's my.
But that's how I differ from my having two names, right, and differing from a trans person.
Gotcha. So you just don't. I mean, you don't take offense to it. I mean, like you'll correct them, but it's not like you get mad at them.
Yeah.
Because I mean, obviously these are
correct.
people that are recognizing your birth name with your face. Like they've known you. So
Yeah, of course.
like that's how you remember names. Like you put a name to a face, like everybody says. So like they see you, they see your face, they remember your name. That's if you had a high school reunion, you go back, obviously if you change your name around that time, that would be a little bit different, but
Right.
but yeah, so that's kind of where I'm at, was like, so you're not offended if people do, but you do try to correct them.
Yeah. It's just I prefer one name over the other, and that's it.
Right. Anybody else?
Yeah, any more questions from you? Straighties.
Straighties. Is that all we're known to you now? No. I don't think I do. I think a lot of the stuff that I wanted to know the answer to was covered by like Dennis and Bill.
Yeah.
Anyone in any of the chats got?
I haven't looked at Domin's chat in like an hour.
Nothing's really
Any questions
happened.
that want to be asked or put to Jackson anyway?
Oh, you want to know how I got my name, Jax?
Yes.
I mean, if that's a question from a chat, then cool. If not, then yes, I do.
Well, I want to say when
Star Wars: The Clone Wars
came out on Cartoon Network, they came out with a very shit MMO, and me and my dad were filling it out. Instead of asking me for what I wanted my name to be, he just clicked random a few times and full sent, and it happened to be Jackster Cray Forage. And when I changed my name to Jackster K Forage, I forgot what the K stood for, so I just put K as my middle initial.
Huh.
But the K stands for Cray. Unless you ask my friend Evo Squid, then it stands for cum.
With a K?
Yeah, with
Yeah,
a
I
K.
was gonna say, which is more commonly spelled with a C.
Every cum starts with K.
I mean, every kiss begins with K, but
Did they go to school Hector by any chance? No,
no, that's
nice. Oh yeah.
yeah. I mean,
I also, if I'm,
I didn't pick it out
also-
so myself. It was randomized, actually.
that's actually weird. I mean, not weird that way, but just that it stuck. Because I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't really imagine living by a name that I didn't pick myself.
Yeah.
That's a weird concept. I mean, I suppose.
But
if
it's a good name. Like
Yeah, if it's like
especially
something that got
shortened.
randomized and you felt comfortable with, then
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Jax or Jackster is usually what people shorten it to, but
right. Yeah, it's a good name.
yeah. A lot of times when people ask me, they'll go, "Oh, Jax from Mortal Kombat or League of Legends." And it's just no, I don't get it from that.
Nope, just a randomizer.
So, actually, just one quick follow-up question. You said that the name is Jackster Cray Forge, yeah?
Yeah.
I mean, you said that you don't think you would. if you were to legally change your name, would you go with Jackster Crayforge, or would you just shorten it again to Jax?
Oh, it'd be the whole thing. Like, because Jackster Crayforge is Jackster, the first name, Cray, the middle name, and us, Forage, as the surname.
Ah. I should have been able to figure that bit out, yeah.
I'm going to step away for 1 second. I'll be right back.
Yeah.
I'm timing you.
I think it's past 1 second.
It has been past a second, and
I think Doman's lost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had to get my kids for a second there, so I missed a little bit of the end there, so I apologize. But, dude, Jax,
you could watch back the vibe.
Right. But no, man, I just want to say, man, dude, I truly commend you for.
Yeah.
I hate this term, but it fits for this right here. But like living your truth, versus trying to conform, because you think about, again, my generation, Domain's generation, how many people may have been
actually bullied.
Yeah.
Or
just may have.
Yeah, or not
I
just
definitely
bullied,
feel
but afraid
But
to
some
come
people
out
may have
because of-
shied away from coming out because of the fear of.
because of social implications and absolutely, man. So dude, I truly commend you for not cowering down or backing down to
I
quote unquote
definitely
social norm, man.
feel privileged about my situation, and now I can use it. So I am aware of the privilege that I have above other people. I know I'm just I didn't get no coming out party, but it was all right.
Yeah, you did. It's called the Still Talking Podcast.
Yeah.
But on a note that with Doman currently not here, I believe Jax normally wants to go off and start thinking about getting ready for his job, and Dennis has his kids. We normally like to end it around the 2-hour mark, which we have hit. We have
about
2.5 hours.
Yeah.
So I think that is probably the perfect place to end it. Obviously, we appreciate Jax for being as open as he was in speaking about that with us all, and massive shout out to everyone. Thank you to everyone across all 4 streams that's watched or listened. You can check out the VOD if you missed anything, or if you came late, or if you had to leave slightly early and missed the middle section. Doman does upload these to his YouTube channel. There is links to his stuff over on his Twitch and Twitter. And we will see you guys next week, which, if I'm not mistaken, Jax may not be here next week, purely because of the fact
it's all wrestling.
You better be here next week, Jax. We are going to convert you, sir.
I think it'll be a good. Since this is the Still Talking Podcast, I have something my dad just told me.
Go on, we can...
He says,
do tell.
He says many serial killers became that way because they couldn't express their sexuality.
Luckily, we let you express yours before you did anything illegal.
Thinking about it, the way that Michael Myers was tearing that ass up, bro, low key.
Mind you, this is a guy who has a Jeffrey Dahmer poster above his bed.
Fan art or just respect his work?
Like that.
Or an autograph.
No, no, it was a. I believe it was a poster from a short film or a documentary or something. But I told you guys he's a horror director, right? A horror movie director. Yeah,
you did.
Yeah, so we've always been into the more graphic side of movies. This is why I said I'm more of a gory person, a graphic person. That's the word I wanted to use, was graphic. I couldn't think of it.
Gory graphics?
No, not pornographic, just graphic.
Not
hey,
porno.
Hey, Domain.
No.
Whoa.
I'm assuming
it
doesn't have to
lower
be.
the tone of the conversation.
I'm assuming
completely
that,
changed.
Greenfly has done the outro, so we're done with the podcast.
I was midway through it when Jackson was out. I was just saying that next.
You did.
We
hey,
can talk
next
question
week.
before we outro it.
Didn't we already?
I will finish this outro if it's the
a
last thing
double
I do.
It's
double outro.
outie.
Hey,
Double outie.
speaking of outros, Doman,
Yo.
what if we were to get Paul Heyman to do our outro the way he introduces Brock Lesnar?
I don't get these
Or
references.
or should we have him do our intro?
I was going to say, you got to do the intro. You're Paul Heyman in it. My name is Paul Heyman, and this is the Still Talking Podcast.
I
think
feel
you've got to go with that.
out excluded with this.
Yeah,
I
I mean,
will-
like
I will-
the
I
outro should
will
be
say-
Stone Cold.
Oh, the outro would be Stone
This
Cold,
is
and
the
the intro would be Paul
This
Heyman.
is the Still Talking Podcast, and if you're not, or you can do DX. If you're not down with
Mhm.
that,
I mean,
we got two
I
words
think,
for you.
right,
You keep looking at me laughing. I'm gonna.
the outro, if we can get it for next week, would be perfect. The Paul Heyman intro would work for every episode.
It would.
Like, perfectly. Like, my name's Paul Heyman, and this is the Still Talking Podcast.
Jax, I will send you some links real quick. What I'm talking about, intro and outro with Paul Heyman. I would also. I think I want Paul Heyman to do my funeral. Just saying.
I want to do that.
Just like
but
curiosity,
what-
do any of us know Paul Heyman? Like we can get him.
I don't know
or-
who that is.
No, not that we know.
Yeah,
who he is,
I-
but can we just get
Yeah,
him?
I'll give him a ring in a bit.
Just ring it in. Gotcha.
I mean, I do follow.
What's his name?
Paul. His
Paul?
name is
Human?
Paul Heyman, and he has
Heyman?
been the advocate for the last 20 years for the reigning. I can't even do it justice. I'm gonna
the
stop, 'cause I keep-
reigning, defending, undisputed
He's
heavyweight
also
champion of the world.
No, he's also the chief counsel now, isn't
He
Oh,
is
wow.
the tribal chief.
The
Yeah,
tribal.
he is the
chief.
counsel for the tribal chief.
I'll talk to him. He's from New York.
You get him. You get him.
But back,
You know what?
Back to the outro. We can discuss the sort of things that we want to try and secure for the next episode in the charts themselves. But we are looking at a potentially earlier stream for the podcast next week due to the start time of the WrestleMania main show. I have put forward the idea of a 6 till 8 EST time just so that we run alongside the kickoff and then we all go and we sit and we watch the WrestleMania pay-per-view in a Discord call and have a laugh. But it is going to be slightly earlier. We're not 100% set on a time just yet, but we will be tweeting out with times. So keep an eye on everyone's Twitters, keep an eye on everyone's Twitches, because we will also let people know there.
And due to copyright laws, we will not be streaming the event. We will just be reacting and talking as it happens.
We
No
will be
audio, no audio,
we will be
no
doing
video.
a sort of watch-along live reaction to the kickoff shows. There will be no audio, no video, and then we will more than likely end the podcast for the main show because I think we want to watch that with some of the audio to hear some of the crowd pops and stuff like that.
Right.
So for like the main event and stuff. So
Send
we
us
will
home.
only be live joining there. And as I said, Jax may not be there, so everyone say bye to Jax for 2 weeks. But that is us done for another week of still talking, and we hope to see everyone back again next time.
My God, are you still talking?